The National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today, from Anaheim Stadium, it's the New England Patriots versus the Los Angeles Rams. Brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By the 1987 German-engineered Volkswagens and your Volkswagen dealers. And by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Welcome to Anaheim Stadium. A crowd of over 65,000 expected to see two of the NFL's best. The Jets leading by 2 over New England. The Patriots in a good wild card position in the AFC East. In the NFC West, the Rams lead by a half game over the 49ers in the only division in the NFL where every team is 500 or better. New England in white will receive the ball. Lansford approaches, and we're underway. Stephen Starring at his 2-yard line. Pointing, he has a blocker at 30. Lansford to beat, and Lansford gets him out of bounds at the 44-yard line. The Rams kicker saving a touchdown as Stephen Starring returns it 42 yards.
Right off the bat, New England comes in with a big play on special teams. Starring running out of a tackle there. Nolan Cromwell, number 21, missing, and Lansford tries to push Starring all the way out. Starring tiptoeing for a couple of extra yards, but great field position to begin the ball game.
Tony Eason, number 11, starts at quarterback. He has Craig James and Tony Collins behind him. Off play action, he's going deep. Stanley Morgan at the 40 and a first down at the Rams 40-yard line. For the New England Patriots, the 51st catch of the year for Stanley Morgan from Tennessee. Craig James and Collins are the running backs. Morgan and Irving Fryer, the wide receivers, and Greg Hawthorne at tight end. The offensive line, they've not been able to open the holes for the running game, and that's been the one big concern for New England. Holloway, Fairchild, Brock, Wooten, and Moore. First down at the Ram 40. Both wide receivers to the right with Morgan in the slot. Eason looks right, then dumps over the middle, and it's Craig James for 5. Fumbles the ball. Was he down? I believe they whistled the ball dead. Carl Eckern, number 55, made the hit.
Carl Eckern. He's the general of that defense. Quick reaction to the ball as he gets back into his zone. And look at him come up and strip for that football, pulling it away from Craig James. Looked to me like he had that ball out of there, but we can't hear the whistle from here, Dick.
And a tough angle to really read it. Eckern out of San Jose State. The Spartans are in the California Bowl. The tight end Hawthorne has a first down, 6-yard gain as he's finally dragged down by Mark Giroux at the 29 of the Rams. The Rams read this way in their 3-4 defense. Reed, Miller, and Doss across the front line. Owens, Giroux, Eckern, and Wilcher. Wilcher, the top sack man last year, and has 4.5 this year. Gray and Irvin at the corners. Johnson and Cromwell. That's a good back 4 for the Rams. New England from the opening kickoff, a couple of first downs, and now present 1st and 10 at the 29. Going for 6 and overshooting is Eason as he looked for Irving Fryer. Johnny Johnson from the University of Texas on the coverage.
A little bit out of character for the Ram defense as they shot both outside linebackers on that last play. They don't do a lot of blitzing or dogging. They're what you call the purest of vanilla defenses. They sit in there and they tell you, if you're going to beat us, you've got to work the ball down the field. What they're hoping for, of course, is that you're going to make a mistake in the process. Eason having an outstanding year, plus 10 in the touchdown to interception numbers. 12 touchdowns, only twice intercepted. 2nd and 10. James. And that is typical of the running game of the Patriots this year. They're averaging the starting running backs under 3 yards a carry. Sean Miller, number 98 from Utah State, made the hit. Good reaction to the ball by Sean Miller. You'll see it from our end zone camera as Miller just slid across. Watch him at that nose tackle position. Stands up Pete Brock at center and then slides in behind the guards. Reggie Doss already had a piece of the ball carrier, but Sean Miller finished him off.
Patriots go with 4 wide receivers and Eason in the shotgun. Might be changing his play as he looks left and right before the snap, then gives off to Collins, and the Rams read that perfectly. Collins gains only a couple, and the field goal unit will come on. Tony Franklin, who leads the NFL in scoring 100 points this year. He's way out in front. He's made 9 in a row and is 24 for 30 on the year. Both place kickers barefooted. Little Rumpelstiltskin act by Franklin before he gets himself ready.
He's stamping out a spot. You notice how Eason will come back and set himself up to put that ball right on that spot that's been stamped down into the turf.
43-yard attempt. On its way, and New England leads 3-0. 10 in a row for Franklin. Officially 42-yard kick. A personal high as he bangs home his 25th field goal of the year in only the 11th week of the season. So the Patriots capitalize on a good kickoff return to start the game and march in for the field goal. It's a team that has not played well on the turf. 14-28 on the road the last 11 years, and yet on artificial turf on the road, a solid winning advantage.
Well, certainly part of that, Dick, would be the quality of the teams that they face on natural turf. The Raiders, for one, Miami, those are teams that they usually have to play. Denver, they have to play on the natural turf. But the other thing that's true of this team is that they seem to be able to utilize their speed more effectively on the artificial turf. And they are a team under Raymond Berry that seems to play better, obviously, at home and on the artificial surface.
And this, while it is a natural turf, is a very fast surface. This is not the heavy grass that you'll see in the Midwest or the East that'll really grab at the shoes. This is lightning fast. It's the baseball outfield type grass. Multi-purpose stadium, the Big A. Now, the Rams will get their chance. Franklin sends it high but short. Ron Brown at the 14, the Olympic speedster. Ducks out. And he's across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Here are the Rams, as they said, offensively with Steve Dills, the quarterback. We will see Jim Everett, the #1 pick of Houston, acquired by the Rams before the day is out. Barry Redden and Eric Dickerson once again leading the NFL in rushing. Ron Brown and Henry Ellard, plenty of speed on the outside. David Hill, one of the fine blocking tight ends in the game. Big offensive line. Pankey, the rookie Newberry from Wisconsin lacrosse, fit right in immediately. Doug Smith, veteran Dennis Herr, and Jackie Slater on the right side.
3 Pro Bowlers from last year in that offensive line.
Word is that the Rams will try to run right and throw right, especially with Andre Tippett sidelined with the injury. Dill's going to throw on first down. Has a man wide open, David Hill. The big tight end rambles all the way to the 46 of New England. Only his 6th catch of the entire year. He's in there to block, not catch, but no one covered him.
David Hill is a big tackle playing tight end. A little fake to Eric Dickerson, and obviously the whole New England team thought he had the football. That's the kind of respect he gets. Dills dangerously close to the line of scrimmage as he dumped it off to a wide open man. And of course, Hill showing you some of that size and strength as he packed a couple of them side saddle for a
to the 37-yard line. Here another first down. Dickerson, who has 19 catches, just as New England has passed but not run well. It's the Rams that run it, but not much of a passing game. Let's set the defense for the Patriots. Brent Williams, the rookie from Toledo, with Toby Williams and Garin Vera, second year from Stanford, the top player on that defensive line. McGrew for the injured Tippett. Nelson Rempert moves inside. Blackman, a top outside backer, with Lippett, Claiborne, Marion, and James, the back 4. 2nd and 1. New England leading 3-0. Dickerson has the first down to the 33-yard line, and a chance to check the early scores in the National Football League. A final, Cincinnati knocks off Seattle. What's happened to the Seahawks? 22-20. The Giants have regained the lead at home against Minnesota, or at Minnesota, rather. Chicago leads in Atlanta by 3. A couple of dogfights there. Miami, trailing early, has moved up 10 points at Buffalo. New Orleans has won at St. Louis, and Pittsburgh wins again against Houston. Baseball score, a high scoring, as Philadelphia leads Detroit in the fourth, and Green Bay has breezed past Tampa Bay. First down for Dills. Good protection, and now it breaks down, and Jaron Veras has the sack, his 9th of the year.
Now let's look at the kind of success that the quarterbacks have had on these two squads, and you can expect right out the gate that the Ram quarterback's numbers are not going to be that good. As you look at Eason, though, he's right up there behind O'Brien, number 2 quarterback in the league, and way down the list. In fact, so far that they're not ranked, Bartkowski and Dills in the high 50s, almost half of the ranking of Eason.
There's the top thrower from Purdue University. He has not played yet. He's been here 2 months since acquired from Houston in that big trade. Word is we'll see him in the second quarter. Dills hit as he throws. And unable to hang on was Eric Dickerson. Good coverage by the New England Patriots.
In all fairness to Steve Dills, we'd have to say that he's had a lot of passes dropped over the past few weeks, Dick. And in fact, he has been doing within his talent range what the coaches have asked him to do. And basically that's to hand off to Eric Dickerson and not to make that many mistakes.
Dills, who came out of Stanford, signed by the Vikings as a 4th-round pick, was with Minnesota for 4 years, and the Rams acquired him in 1984 for a number 4 draft. 3rd and long. We welcome those of you who have been watching other NFL action on NBC. Anaheim Stadium the scene. The pass completed to Henry Ellard, only a 2nd catch of the year at the 25 of New England, but that will be short of a first down. Trailing 3-0. Here comes Mike Lansford, the barefooted kicker from Washington, to try to tie it up for Los Angeles. Tony Franklin hit on a 42-yard field goal when New England took the opening kickoff and marched it into Ram territory. Lansford, of course, the hero 2 weeks ago in Chicago when his 50-yard field goal at Soldier Field beat the Bears. And then the Rams went on to New Orleans and were shut out last week 6-0. This one will be 42 yards to match Franklin's. And it's just wide to the left. It just missed, hooking left. And New England retains the lead 3-0.
Lansford, I think, feeling that he had that all the way, but that ball, as it will often do from a soccer-style kicker, just gradually hooked and hooked and hooked and narrowly missed hitting the goalpost last week against New Orleans. He nailed his only opportunity into the right-hand goalpost, perhaps thinking of that, a little compensation here, and it pulls to the left.
So New England will take over at the 25-yard line, the line of scrimmage. Each team had the ball 6 plays, and then tried the field goal. New England made the 42-yarder. Lansford missed for the Rams. Tony Eason going long, and Pryor is open. Incomplete down at the 35-yard line. Pryor just a foot short. That one going all the way. Jerry Gray, the second-year cornerback from Texas, had been beaten.
That's one of the things that Tony Eason is doing a much better job on it. The Rams, of course, will give you that zone defense all day. You see the 3 men dropping deep, and Irving Pryor just blazing down the sideline past Gray on that particular play. But Gray showing you some good speed as he tries to catch up. That ball just off his fingertips.
2nd and 10 over the middle to Hawthorne, the tight end. They've not been using him much. Whistle had blown before the fumble at the 34-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 1 in Anaheim, but first let's go to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Dick, in Los Angeles, the ageless Jim Plunkett and Dokie Williams pick up where they left off last week. Here, 46-yard touchdown. Raiders lead 7-0 first quarter.
Ageless. They say that about Ahmad Rashad, for that matter. How about that Jim Plunkett, who started, of course, with the New England Patriots as their number 1 pick, first player picked back in 1971. 3rd and 1 for New England. The toss to Mosi Tutupu, a little play action back to Eason. Eason throws to Beatty, and Beatty has a first down at the 47. So razzle-dazzle. Tutupu An overhand lateral back to Eason, and then Eason finding the tight end from Stanford, Jerry Gray, on the coverage.
Watch the play. Eason just a little flip, and then he makes sure that he is behind his man. Took a quick look downfield to check the defense, and then flipped it out to the tight end. It is indeed razzle-dazzle, and it worked effectively, and that's the kind of thing you have to do against a defense that just says, stay in front of us. We're not going to give you the easy shot all day long.
And high grades to Andy Rosenberg, our director, and George Finkel, our producer. They were not fooled, nor were their cameramen on it all the way. Collins near midfield, a couple of yards. Mike Wilcher from North Carolina. Boy, the Tar Heels, they had Lawrence Taylor, the great linebacker, now with the Giants. And when he left school, there was Wilcher, number 54.
You look at that 2.8 average for Tony Collins, and that, of course, is one of the problems. These running backs for the Patriots not breaking the long runs. A lot of short ones, and they don't add up to a very good average.
Collins at 2.8 and James at 2.9.
Brian Holloway playing at left tackle.
And it's the Rams that are guilty.
The Rams offsides on that play.
Defense, number 58. Encroachment. 5 yards.
Mel Owens out of the University of Michigan. Boy, maize and blue of the Wolverines, upset by Minnesota. Maize and blue, and with the emphasis on the blue in Ann Arbor today. John Robinson coached at Southern California before coming here as the Rams head man. Each year, his team has improved. Started at 9-7, then 10-6, and last year 11-5. At 3 consecutive playoffs. They start today 7-3. Eason going long to Fryer, intercepted with Leroy Irvin. Irvin at the 40, and he fumbles, and I believe New England recovers. They did. It appeared to be Greg James who was knocked down, and the ball just rolled to the fallen Patriots. And James comes up with it at the Ram 47-yard line. Actually a gain on the play.
Watch the defense that will lead us to that ball. Fryer, right there, gets just a fingertip on the ball, and Irving reaches out, volleyballs it back into his hands, and then with an escort, heads upfield. But watch the end of the play. There's the strip right there as James just kind of swatted him, and Irving, who was carrying the ball loosely, ended up losing it and dropping it right back into Irving. Excuse me, Dick. Back to Craig James' hands.
Well, Craig James did 2 things right. He forced the fumble and then knew where it was going to wind up. He laid right there to let it roll to him. Big play by James, an offensive player becoming a defender. To Tupu. Little or no gain, Sean Miller, 6'4" and 255. Nicknamed Dirt. There to stop him from Utah State.
A few nose tackles out of Utah State playing in the league. A chance to go in one more time to look at some good inside play by number 55, Carl Eckern. And Eckern is not afraid to put that helmet on you. We said he's the general. He does the same thing for the Rams that Steve Nelson does for the New England Patriots.
2 veterans who have played in there tough, have to make a lot of tackles. The defense is designed that way. Wide open underneath. Tony Collins to the 35 and to the 33 to match his number, and a first down, New England. Nolan Cromwell tripped him up after a 14-yard gain.
That's the kind of play that you have to run against this Ram defense. They play what is almost a basketball man-to-man. When you come into their area, they'll stick it up on you pretty good. But what that means is that they try and keep everything in front of them. And on the deep drops, there is room underneath. Right now, that's what Tony Eason is attacking with a short pass.
And Collins, as you saw, with 42 catches, a solid receiver. Does everything well, blocks well, has been a 1,000-yard rusher, and he's a good receiver out of East Carolina. Eason throws that one away. Stephen Starling was in the area, but well covered. Here it's 3-0 New England. Let's check on other scores. NFL 86.
All right, Dick, in the Meadowlands, the Colts have scored on this Randy McMillan 4-yard run, and get this, it's the first rushing touchdown scored on the Jets this year. Score 7-7 first quarter.
Of course, the Jets playing without Joe Klecko and Marty Lyons in that defensive line. That could make a difference.
Lance Mel, too, missing from that lineup. So that'll hurt.
This may be as close as Paul McGuire comes all year to picking a winner. Up the middle goes Collins, and that's a long gain for the Patriots rushing the football. Mel Owens tripped him up inside the Ram 30-yard line. Cincinnati winning big against Seattle. The Giants by 2 against Minnesota, and the Vikings again playing very well. Chicago scrambling for a win at Atlanta. Miami apparently will win against the Bills. New Orleans a victor. Pittsburgh 21-10 over the Oilers. 13-11. Now Detroit leading Philadelphia in the fourth, and in the Battle of the Bays Green over Tampa. Eason off Hawthorne's hands, covered by Tim Fox, the veteran from Ohio State, and in comes Tony Franklin to try to make it 11 in a row. Franklin, who gave his blockers on the special teams cowboy boots last year. I don't know if he gave them both or just the left left shoe. And this year gave them color television sets. He said, hey, without them, and what a good way to maintain that morale on the special teams.
Well, he doesn't wear out a lot of socks, I'll tell you that. He can wear a pair twice as long as we can, Dick. And he likes it when it's warm, too. Got to believe that.
45-yard attempt. He made his first from 42. Plenty high and long enough, and it is good. So Franklin, the NFL's leading scorer by far, starting with an even 100 points, has made his 25th and 26th field goals of this season from 42 and 45 yards, and it's 6-0 New England.
Well, Dick, we can look ahead to seeing this young man in the ballgame today, and there are questions you ask about every young quarterback when he finally comes into the league. You ask, of course, about their physical ability. Are they big and strong? Do they move around well? Everett certainly does that. The arm, he has a fine arm. Intelligence, no question about it. He's picked up the offense very quickly. Leadership, they say he's a natural, a very born leader. Confidence, well, you know he's the #1 pick. He's got confidence, a good attitude, not afraid to work hard. The one question mark, and it goes on the bottom line, execution. Can he take all that talent now and put it to work on the field? We said earlier we're going to see him in the second quarter, and the big question is, can he do for this team what he did for his college team and what he showed as a college player? And you've got to remember, this is like his first professional scrimmage. Not a chance to do it when it doesn't count early in the preseason. He's got to make his debut on national television with an awful lot of folks here in the stands saying, you better do it right.
Tony Franklin, who has given the Patriots a 6-0 lead, to Ron Brown. 20, 30, and Brown using all that Olympic speed to get out to the 35-yard line. Jim Bowman, Central Michigan graduate, makes the tackle. So the Rams get their second chance. There's a joke going around Southern California that the kid goes to school, and the first day he learns to read, the second day he learns to write, the third day he learns the Rams' offensive game plan. Hand off to Eric Dickerson. Well, in fact, Leroy Irvin, who was the quipster for the Rams, said, well, was he a slow learner? But that could change if Everett is all that the Rams hope he will be. Dickerson certainly has been. It's only a yard on that play. Dickerson held only 57 yards by the New Orleans Saints in that shutout loss at the Superdome last week. Toby Williams with a tackle that leads the NFL by a couple of hundred yards coming into this 11th week of the season.
What surprised the Rams was that the New Orleans Saints did not adjust their defenses as so many teams do to prepare for Dickerson. Overstacking on the line, they were able to do it out of their 3-4. And so far, the New England Patriots doing a good job of shutting Dickerson down.
Inside to Barry Redden. He's out to the 40-yard line. That'll bring up about 3rd and 5.
But Dick has his characteristic of a great back. You may hold him down for a couple of quarters, but it's unusual when you finally look at the stats of the game to find out that he hasn't broken a couple of big runs. And Dickerson with incredible speed for a big man. And the thing that happens is he has that sneaky speed. You'll watch defensive players, they feel that they have position on him, and the next thing they're doing is looking at his back, as you are right there, because he's gone by them.
Back to one of the best plays. He kind of roams wide, and then he sees an opening and accelerates through it. And with all that size and speed, so difficult to bring down. Dills, with plenty of time, finds Mike Gooman. And Gooman is out of bounds at the 45 of New England. A flag is down.
Flag came late on that play. Might be perhaps an illegal bump downfield or even offensive interference. Offensive interference on Gooman.
Now John Robinson, the 51-year-old head man of the Rams, not happy with that call.
Offense, number 44. Offensive pass interference. 10 yards, repeat the down.
So Gooman from Penn State using his hands to open the way. We welcome those of you who have seen the Miami Dolphins defeat the Buffalo Bills 34-24 here at 6-0 New England against the Rams.
There's the bump right there. Don Blackman, 55, and Gooman cannot interfere with the defenders. Even if the ball is not in the air, he's not allowed to bump off of them to get room to catch the pass.
So 3rd and long for Steve Dills with 1:44 left in the first quarter here in Anaheim, and down goes Dills. It appeared to be Roland James on a safety blitz that came in and got him first. That's somewhat unusual for New England to throw that at the offense.
New England defense much more aggressive in many ways this year. There's James, 38, all the way around from the backside. And with the linebacker also coming from that side, they just overloaded them. No one to pick him up.
So the Rams trailing 6-0 will punt for the first time. Dale Hatcher from Clemson to kick to Irving Fryer, who has one punt return for a score this year. Hatcher delivers a beautiful spiral. Fryer at his own 29. Vince Newsom brings him down for a loss at the 26.
Fryer trying to use his speed to get outside and giving ground on the punt. But Newsom, who had excellent position and is a good open field tackler, simply put him away.
48 yards on the kick and a -4 on the return. And apparently a flag on the play. And the way they're marching, it appears to be one of those 5-yarders against the Rams.
Number 51 on the kicking team. Illegally downfield. 5 yards. Re-kick.
Norval Van, number 51, and of course you're not allowed, no one is allowed except the 2 outside sprinters to break away before that ball is kicked. And you try and time it out. You try and sense when that ball is going to be kicked, but that snap was a little bit off on that play. The timing of the kick a little off, and Van off a little bit early, and of course that negates a very fine defensive play on the punt, and certainly will give New England a chance at better field position.
Barry, the New England coach, loves that, to give Fryer another chance to return one, because he can go the distance at any time.
Scare you every time he gets on the field.
Now Hatcher now will kick from inside his 10, will receive the snap at his 3. Now this is not a very good kick, and Fryer racing up, trouble, and the Rams have it. And who gets it? Van, the very man that picked up the penalty on the punt before. Well, that's making amends in a hurry.
That certainly is. New England Patriots playing the percentages, and Irving Fryer trying to make a big play, could not handle that dropping kick, and Norwood Van there is there to make the play.
Just a minute left in the first quarter. 6-0 New England. You'll see a lot of numbers today, but you won't see a number 74 for the Rams. That's the only number that has been officially retired here in the Rams' history.
Listen, those guys used to tear my jerseys up. They just didn't have any number 74s to put on anybody out there, Dick.
No one's big enough. Of course, there are some numbers. Number 40, worn by Elroy Hirsch, is never issued. Number 7, Bob Waterfield, they don't issue that one, nor number 85, Jack Youngblood. But Merlin Olsen with the distinct, unique honor of having his number retired, the only one in the Rams' 40-some years. Well, after the punt return, fumbled by Fryer, it's the Rams in business, but Eric Dickerson brought down by Johnny Rembert after a yard gain at best.
A very fine group of linebackers. Number 52, Johnny Rembert, right there, is going to make the play. Watch him as he sorts inside and then makes good acceleration to meet Eric Dickerson. And you need to catch Dickerson before he gets his feet up. Rembert, by taking the good angle, was right there to make the play.
You won't see that very often. Eric Dickerson going down hit by just one man.
Well, they say you just grab and hang on and pray that there's a lot of help coming.
Dills to Dickerson, and again short yardage for the NFL's top rusher as Dickerson from SMU. Of course, Craig James is pony backfield mate with the Mustangs on the other side of the line of scrimmage today. Late games, Raiders leading first place Cleveland 10-0 in the first, and Denver saying Kansas City. Dallas with a 3-0 lead down at San Diego, and the Jets and Colts are tied at 7 as the gun sounds the end of the first quarter here at Anaheim Stadium in Orange County.
The statistics for the first quarter. Look at the rushing yardage for the Patriots, 12, and for the Rams, 10. Now, that's about what you might expect for the Patriots, who like to pass the ball, but for the Rams to only have 10 yards at the end of the first quarter, almost unheard of. Total yardage, not much to brag about. 3 opportunities to score, 2 missed field goals, and New England with 1 on the board.
Well, actually, New England made the 42 and the 45-yarder to go ahead 6-0.
Sorry about that.
Rams missing from 42. Dills, 3rd and 8. Through the hands of Henry Ellard, who is well covered on the near sideline. 6-0 New England at the start of the second quarter. Let's go to New York.
All right, Dick, in Denver, the Bronco defense is back on track. Here, Randy Robbins forces this fumble by Bill Kinney. It's picked up by Andre Townsend, who rolls in for the score. Made it 14-0. They've added a subsequent touchdown. 21-0 Broncos first quarter.
Now the Broncos with the lead in the AFC West, and Kansas City challenging a surprising Chiefs 7-3 coming in, and Denver trying to put the pressure on them and have 21-0 early. I understand that Steve Flores throwing a long touchdown pass down at San Diego. That ball is blocked. Breaking in for New England was Rod McSwain, and he takes it in for a touchdown. Rod McSwain in cleanly, took it right off Hatcher's foot, and then was able to get the right bounce and complete the job. 12-0 New England.
Dante Scarnecchia, the special teams coach of the Patriots, said they were going to try and put some pressure on Hatcher because they felt that they could force him into a bad kick. Well, the pressure did more than that. It results in a touchdown. Watch how quickly they're on top of Hatcher. No time, and a perfect job of going to the contact point, knowing where that ball was going to be, and McSwain just smothered it, and then has about an entourage of about 6 blockers to help him into the end zone.
25 yards on the return by McSwain. Franklin adds the extra point, his 107th point of this season, and New England enjoys a 13-0 lead. When you can block a punt for a touchdown, and New England now leads 13-0. Rod McSwain with his first NFL touchdown, the 3rd-year defensive back from Clemson, and now Tony Franklin spins it short. Ron Brown easing up to the 11. Second effort out to the 29-yard line. Guy Morris, the veteran, makes the tackle.
Watch it quickly as McSwain right here goes inside. This man is supposed to block him and just ignores him as he turns it loose. Watch McSwain, a Ram mistake, and it goes on the scoreboard.
Now there's the Rams' hope for the future young Jim Everett, the quarterback, and John Robinson told us yesterday he'll get a big ovation when he comes in, which he did. Robinson said his job is to be sure he isn't booed when he comes out. He's given him 8 plays, basically, that he has down pat. Let's see what he'll call first.
I bet he's got some butterflies, too. Couldn't be normal if he didn't.
Gives to Barry Redden first, and Redden is able to scramble for a couple of yards. Lawrence McGrew, number 50, made the tackle with help from Roland James. It'll be 2nd and 8. Late scores, the Raiders still lead over at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, 10-0. Denver with a 21-0 lead, aided by the Andre Townsend fumble recovery. Dallas moves up 10-0 at San Diego. Jets and Colts are tied at 7. Everett, called by Robinson, one of the 4 or 5 best-looking young leaders he's ever seen. Down he goes, and he took a pretty good pop from the blind side.
John Blackman, number 55. You just didn't feel him coming in there. And Blackman looked like he just took a shot, not really sensing exactly wherever. Watch the right-hand side of your picture, over the top of Dickerson. And Blackman just reaching through Dickerson actually knocked Everett down with what looked like a punch, but I don't even think he could see him.
Wonder if he said anything to him. Welcome to the NFL, kid.
I don't know, but that's the introduction. And you can't expect Jim Everett to go on there and look like Johnny Unitas or any of the great quarterbacks of our time, because he's playing with a very limited number of plays, as you mentioned, Dick, and he's got them in a specific order, too.
Third down, about 14 from the shotgun, Everett. Over the middle, incomplete. The ball behind the intended receiver, Kevin House, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So an inauspicious debut for Everett, but he undoubtedly will return for the next sequence. Gets a hand anyway.
Well, he's got the first series out from underneath himself now. That's Dick Corey, who brought him to work with the passing game here. And he'll sit down now and talk to him about his performance in his first debut, and at least he didn't throw an interception. I mean, there are some pluses here.
Here's Hatcher, speaking of being a bit nervous. Had the last one that time to go for a touchdown. Hits this one beautifully. Pryor at his own 28. Follows it, and the Rams have it at the 33-yard line. Now, did it come up to the Patriots? So Vince Newsom is the man who made the hit. It appeared to go right to one of the Los Angeles Rams, and it did.
Irving Pryor already with one mistake on the day, maybe trying to do too much here, carrying that ball a little loosely, and Newsom just stuck his arm right in there and stripped it away. Carl Eckern, 55, had his hands on it, and another Ram, and it would appear that it was Norwood Van. That's the second time that he's come up with a football after it's been drilled on the ground by Irving Pryor.
Well, Pryor with a couple of miscues, and Van there to scramble and recover both for Los Angeles, and the Rams trailing 13-0 with 13 minutes remaining in the first half. Have a shot inside the 35, and it's Everett at the controls. Sends the tight end Hill in motion.
I think he's going deep with this one.
He is indeed for 6 to Allard. No, he did not get both feet in. Something, his first completion, a touchdown, and he narrowly missed. It appeared Eller got the left foot in, not the right.
Here's the end of that play, and boy, he has to control it and get both feet down. Now that's a hard one, because you've got to ask, when did he have control of that football? He did not miss it by much. Ellard, of course, working back into shape after holding out for such a long part of the season. But that's the reason he's such a fine receiver. Look at him air it out. We talked about his arm. There's nothing wrong with his arm.
Instant replay officials are taking a look at it. And boy, that's tough. He caught that ball almost between strides. Did he get both feet in?
Maybe we can go back and look at the first replay, because we had that from the end zone. And it appeared to me that if he had control of that football, watch it right here. Has control there. One foot in.
That's a touchdown, Merlin.
And the second foot in. I think he may have his touchdown.
We'll see what the officials say. They're studying the instant replay. You'll hear a roar if they decide for those folks. Some of your neighborhood.
Yeah, they moved right in next to me. Some of the coneheads. Here's that play again.
It's where he catches the ball. He has it right there. Left foot down, right foot, touchdown is the call. And I will admit, for the naked eye, we agreed with the officials. It appeared he didn't get both feet down. Here's a case where a touchdown goes to the instant replay, and those who are proponents of that device are right on that one.
And what a positive debut, at least so far, for young Jim Everett. Working under a very limited number of plays, able to make the long one pay off as he put that ball right on target to Henry Eller.
34 yards on the pass by Everett as they capitalize on Pryor's second muff. And Lansford at the extra point. With 2 minutes gone in the second quarter, Jim Everett is in the 6. Well, in baseball, it's like hitting a home run your first time that you play in the big leagues. And Jim Everett's first completed pass, his second throw, goes for 34 yards and a touchdown. And all 6'5" of the young man from Albuquerque, New Mexico, expressing joy. Lansford with a score 13-7 New England. Steffen starring at the 10. He's got a hole, but runs into his own man. Down he goes at the 25. So the turnover bites the Patriots, and they have been the team taking advantage of turnovers. 25 takeaways this year have led to 15 scores, 13 giveaways, only 10 opponent points.
And that includes the 7 that were just scored. Before this, there were only 3 points on those giveaways. That's an incredible statistic, and the kind you can be very proud of defensively.
Raymond Berry, though, sees the Rams quickly get 7 off Pryor's second fumble. Eason to work, and he is dragged down. The first sack, Mark Giroux from the University of Washington, who has replaced Pro Bowler Jim Collins at the inside linebacker. Check that. It was
Greg Meisner, yeah. 69 coming up from the inside. Pete slipped in there at nose tackle and just slides around. Pete Brock missed him on that play. It looked like they were switching up in there, and Meisner, showing good quickness, came around from behind and put a bear hug on Tony Eason.
Meisner, 69, from the University of Pittsburgh, where he was an academic All-America. So momentum switching to the Rams, and this crowd coming to life with Everett's appearance. Craig James, short yardage to the 27. It'll be 3rd down and 8. No changes in those scores. Jets have taken the lead against the Colts 14-7. Leading 13-7. New England looks at 3rd down and 8.
Steve Moore just trotted off the field. Maybe those injured ribs are acting up.
Eason completed 43-yard line. Stanley Morgan, Johnny Johnson on the coverage, and Morgan, his second catch, is good for 16 yards. What a big year Morgan has had, and it all goes back to an injury to a little finger. He finally had surgery in the offseason. It sounds so simple for all the wounds of the wars of the NFL, but Morgan said for 3 years, every time I caught the ball, it hurt, and I had to be trying to make adjustments. I wasn't catching it cleanly. That combined with losing 10 pounds and playing at his rookie weight, 174, he's having a big Pro Bowl year. Another razzle-dazzle, and Eason has a man open. It's Morgan. Oh, my. He was open by 7 yards. Vince Newsom, the closest Ram, but Eason, under pressure, had to get rid of it sooner than he wanted.
Another flea flicker. Hands the ball inside to James, who just tosses it back. And Morgan had done a good job of breaking clear. Number 22, Vince Newsom, the man who would have been burned on that play, had no chance to catch up with Morgan. But I got to tell you, Eason is kicking himself right now. He said, all I've got to do is get it into his hands, and we got a TD.
Well, Raymond Berry pulling out lots of interesting tricks for this one.
Certainly is.
Tony Collins, once again, the running game offering very little to the attack. Reminder to our viewers, we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player at the conclusion of today's game.
What interesting contrast as you look at the rank of these teams in rushing and passing in the NFL. The Patriots have not really been doing much at all in the running game, but passing right up at the top. And the Rams exactly on the opposite side of the scale, as Dickerson ranks as top rusher in the NFL, but their passing game almost non-existent.
Dead last. 3rd down and 9. Irving Fryer, he has a first down at the Ram 44-yard line. Jerry Gray ran him out of bounds, and for Fryer, you know he was itching to have his number called.
Wants to do something right at this point, and Fryer has had some concentration problems, but what great talent. The one problem with a guy as talented as Fryer is that everything has come easy to him in his life as an athlete, and he perhaps does not have the toughness and the concentration of other athletes who have worked harder to get where they are today.
They mark it at the 43-yard line, so that's a 13-yard gain on 3rd and 9. Starring left, Fryer right. Underneath the Beatty to the 39-yard line, a gain of 4. Mark Giroux with a hit.
Just seeing Beatty take that pass down, we're reminded of the absence of Lynn Dawson, the fine blocking tight end for the New England Patriots. Beatty getting more and more work in there in the last few weeks, but when Dawson went down in that Super Bowl against Chicago last year, we said at the time that was a real loss to New England, but I don't think any of us realized what a big loss it was to their running game until you look at what's happened to the running game of New England during this season.
That combined with John Hanna's retirement, and they just don't move the ball on the ground the way they did so effectively down the stretch last year. Well, they'll try here, and they have blockers in front of James. A flag is down, and James rattled out of bounds at the 29. It would be a first down, but it appears we have a hold against New England.
I think against Greg Hawthorne, a tight end, an undersized tight end, trying to block down on big Reggie Doss, and I don't think he was able to do it without grabbing on. There's 27, Greg Hawthorne. Look at him stepping inside on Doss, and it's a mismatch. He just got his hands full of jerseys.
10 yards.
And Reggie Doss says, wait a minute, you can't do it that way.
And Hawthorne ticketed for 10. New England denied a first down inside the Ram 30-yard line with 9 minutes and 27 seconds left in the half.
And that's the kind of thing that the Ram defense will hope that New England does during the day. They force you to be patient. In fact, in talking to Steve Grogan, I said, what are you thinking of today? He said 3 things. Patience, patience, patience. And you've got to have it.
Second down and long. There's a misfire. It appeared to be that was that draw play where Eason likes to reach around Collins from the backside and hand him the ball, but Collins wasn't there.
And you wonder if maybe it wasn't called as an audible, and perhaps Tony Collins missed the call, or perhaps he thought he heard an audible. Just watching the end of that play, Easton expecting Collins to step forward and take that ball, and that's got to be an awful feeling for a quarterback. What do I do with this pumpkin now? He didn't want to have it.
So the Rams ticket the Patriots for another loss, so it'll be third down, about 18. In trouble again. Jeter finished the job. Kevin Green, 91 in there. Green, who leads the Rams with 5 sacks coming in, and Jeter finished the job.
Well, they have visions of playing Green as an up-down linebacker lineman. He's 255 pounds and tough. He'll get in on the action. But let's credit this one to the Rams secondary. Eason going back simply cannot find the open man. He does have the short receiver Collins waiting there, but I don't think he could see him through all of those bodies. They finally just swarmed him under.
Camarillo with a 43.4 average. Henry Ellard, a dangerous return man inside the Ram 20.
And they try and block this one.
Bad kick off the side of the foot for Camarillo. He won't get much at all out of that. They're marking it down at the 46-yard line, I believe. The bad news for any team is to lose a star, bona fide star player. Andre Tippett qualifies. Knee surgery. The good news is he's going to be back sooner than even New England thought.
They've kept him on the active roster. He told me he felt that he'd be looking at a chance to come back in a couple of weeks, 2 or at the most 3. And that certainly is good news to New England fans.
Tippett with 16.5 sacks last year and 9.5 this. Jim Everett. Flanker screen to Henry Ellard. Read well by the Patriots. Actually, they're going to rule out a fumble and out of bounds for an advancement by the Rams of a couple more yards out to the 48-yard line. Johnny Rembert with a hit.
Excellent lateral speed by this defense, and they react very quickly. talking to Rod Rust about what they would do against the young quarterback, you've got to believe, and there he is on the sideline. He's one of the finest defensive coordinators in the game of football. You see him sending his signals in very quickly. Steve Nelson taking the signals, and he's asking again. He must have missed the call, getting it. That's a mind-to-mind collaboration there. That's just like having an extension on the field. Russ says he's got a deal with Steve Nelson. He said, I told him I wouldn't leave if he promised me he wouldn't leave. And the other thing, he lets him play. He said, I don't ever ask him if he's hurt. He tells me if he can play, and if he says he can play, he plays.
They do not allow the progress in the fumble. They bring the ball back 2 yards and out to the 50. Now the Rams, it'll be short of a first down. Here it is 13-7. New England leading the Rams. Less than 8 minutes left first half. Third down and 2. Redden and Dickerson in the eye behind Everett. Now they break the eye. Power to the right. Dickerson right into a wall of white. No gain at all. That'll bring up 4th and 2. And Toby Williams, number 90. One of 2 Williams on that front wall of the Patriots. Grant the other.
Here's Toby Brent Williams actually on the outside is driving inside, but watch Lawrence McGrew. He'll come all the way in to make that play with excellent pursuit, and we turn it loose. Look how quickly he's inside of that block and then driving down, just no place to go. An excellent play by McGrew, who's of course out there in the spot normally occupied by Andre Tippett.
And the 2 Williams, Toby and Brent, 2 of the 22 Williams in the NFL, right there with the sandwich. So Dickerson has been held in check. Fryer, who has bobbled 2 straight punt attempts and 1 led to the Ram touchdown, stands back at the 10.
Whoa, almost blocked again.
And it was McSwain in on top of him once more. This time Fryer calls for the fair catch at the 23.5. Timeout. 7:14 left first half.
Special teams coach Gil Haskell, I'm sure, concerned. Norwood Van blocking down. Cliff Thrift blocking down. Rod McSwain, and it's exactly the same kind of play we watched earlier for the punt block. Look at him get away from the block of Cliff Thrift and just went beyond the football. The ball actually kicked behind him.
Craig James out to the 27-yard line. Kevin Green with a tackle. 4-yard pickup.
Craig James playing today. Actually got 1 play last week. Has been playing on an injured knee, and he says, I'm feeling better, but I am certainly not back to speed. And of course, we'll have that knee heavily taped.
Didn't want to wear the brace because he felt that's like putting a bullseye on that knee.
Such a disadvantage for a man who makes his living with his speed and his cutting ability to have a bad leg.
Easton throwing it over the head of James. He had sent Fryer deep down the right sidelines, tried to hit James underneath. You can see the uncertainty of that pattern as Easton double pumping and now talking with perhaps a possible mistake on the route.
Well, and there's no question, when you can get to a quarterback, and they have gotten to Easton today to put him on the ground and also to hurry him a little bit, he's aware of the fact that he's not going to have time to sit back in that pocket and wait for his patterns to develop. Easton, I think, feeling the pressure, just threw that one away.
Oh, incomplete to Collins with a flag down. Thrown by the linesman.
Collins upset with himself. A fine receiver. In fact, has been more effective certainly as a receiver this year than as a running back.
Defense, number 91. Offside, lining up in the neutral zone. Right tackle on the offense. Illegal formation. So we're going to have a replay.
Well,
3rd down.
what they're saying is that Reggie Doss lined up outside. The reason he did is he was trying to get close enough to get a hold of the tackle on that side.
So the Patriots actually come out of that with another chance on 3rd down and 7.
Darrell Haley, the tackle, and he was just beyond the legal zone, lined up too far from the ball.
Eason down the middle to Fryer, and a first down at the 43-yard line. The tackle made by Johnny Johnson. Make that Morgan. Morgan, not Fryer, comes up with a catch, and that's his third, and he's picking up good yardage each time. Excellent pressure as you watch some people trying to block in there. That was Steve Moore, 67. And at the end of that play, of course, Eason, feeling the heat, still able to get that ball off. Excellent catch in traffic by Morgan. Morgan has more catches starting this game than all the Rams wide receivers put together. He has 50. You add up all the Rams wideouts, they have 49. Screen to Collins. Well played. Leroy Irvin was the man who played off the blockers and saw his spot, cut down Collins for little or no gain.
Now, they say that there aren't any quarterbacks calling plays in the NFL anymore. Well, that's not exactly true. There is an active quarterback still calling plays, but he's standing on the sideline. Steve Grogan calling the plays right there. You see him, and doing a fine job, I think, thinking as a quarterback, seeing the heat on Eason, and knowing that one of the best ways to slow down the rush is to throw the screen. That's right, what he came back with.
Loss of a yard, 2nd and 11. Plenty of time for Eason, and then Gary Jeter, the veteran from Southern California, as the coverage downfield was excellent by the Rams, and finally Jeter gets to the quarterback, the third sack.
Last week, 67, Steve Moore had to move over to the left side to play for Brian Holloway. This week, he's back in his own position. 315 pounds. He's lost about 20. He did his job, but Tony Eason just stood back there a little too long. Can't believe he can't find somebody open in that Ram zone. But as I said, they play a tough man-to-man in there inside those zones, and he couldn't find an open man.
Third down and 16. Underneath. And that won't be nearly enough as Vince Newsom makes the hit on Tony Collins at the 42-yard line.
Gary Jeter working man-to-man on Brian Holloway. I mentioned that Holloway out of the lineup last week, and Holloway said he was going to give it a go this week. There he is, 76, working on Jeter, and in spite of that injury, able to keep his man away from the quarterback.
Brian Holloway, by the way, well, you see Gary Jeter. Holloway is involved with the NFL Players Association in fundraising for the children of the victims of the space shuttle. And very much involved in a worthy project indeed. We'll tell you more about that. Camarillo to punt. He scuffed a 19-yarder the last time. Drives this one. Ellard inside his 10. And down at the 21-yard line, Rod McSwain made the tackle. 44 yards on the punt, 10 yards on the return, 3:45 left in the half. Prior to Jim Everett, the key to beating the Rams was to stop Eric Dickerson. Key on him, and so far he's gained but 9 yards, and those 9 yards in short little chunks between 1 and 4. Thus far, the Patriots defense has done its job.
They certainly have. And we talked about one-dimensional offenses, and the fact that the Rams were a running offense have been all year long. Today, the run is not working.
Only touchdown on an Everett to Ellard 34-yard pass, and Everett's still in there. Dickerson has some running room this time. Uses that straight arm on Marion as he goes out of bounds at the 30. That's his longest run of the day, 9 yards.
Do you think he heard us talking about him? You'll get a sense of the kind of acceleration that Dickerson has as he takes the little toss, breaks to the outside, and then just turns on the afterburner. Look at the straight arm right to the face of Marion. Marion doing a good job of getting a handful of jersey and staying with Dickerson until they were out of bounds.
9 yards most of the half, and gets 9 on that run. Little misdirection, and Dickerson picks up 6 more and a first down at the 36. Fred Marion again with a hit. The other final, Cincinnati a winner, the Giants rallying at Minnesota, the Bears in a dogfight finally take care of the Falcons. Miami came from behind at Buffalo. New Orleans goes 6-5 under Jim Mora. Pittsburgh wins its 4th. Detroit, in an unusual score, wins by 2 against the Eagles, and Green Bay with an easy one against Tampa Bay, its 2nd win. We'll check the late scores after this play. It's Everett with a quick hitter to Ellard, and Rembert drops him at the 43-yard line after a 6-yard gain. Late action today. The Raiders now jump out 17-0. That'll please the fans in Cincinnati. Bengals have won. They'd move back into a tie with the Browns in the Central Division. Denver with a 3-touchdown advantage over Kansas City at Mile High. San Diego has scored to cut the Cowboy lead to 3 down in San Diego, and the Jets have a touchdown advantage over the Colts. Time remaining first half, 13-7 New England. Dickerson. Ooh, what a hit by Rembert, and he has been a solid defender inside. Rembert actually taking the spot of McGrew. McGrew moved outside with the injury to Tippett, and Rembert into McGrew's spot.
The reason that's been such a good move is because of the strength of Rembert, who's been able to step into that starting assignment and handle it admirably. And, of course, McGrew moving to the outside has had to readjust to that outside linebacking position. But, boy, did he knock Eric Dickerson sideways on that play.
He's had him in the crosshairs this whole first half, and that is the 2-minute timeout with the score here in Anaheim, 13-7 Patriots. Stay tuned for NFL 86 at halftime for all the scores and highlights. 2 minutes to go in the half. Rams trailing New England 13-7. Jim Everett is 3 for 4 with a touchdown throw out of the shotgun on 3rd and 5. Well thrown to Gooden, and a first down at the Patriot 48. Now there's a kid showing that he's got more than a rifle arm. He threw the rainbow, just floated it into Gooman's arm.
Out of the shotgun, he's got to loop this one over the head of the linebacker. And watch him as he just does a brilliant job of throwing it over the top of Don Blackman, number 55, and into the hands of Mike Gooman. A moment ago, he had to zip one to the sideline on a little stop pattern to Ellard. So he has shown the strength and the finesse that you need to play this game with.
Wide open, Ellard. And he has hit Ellard 4 times in this second quarter. First down at the 26. Georgia Frontiere, the owner of the Rams, cheering the young prospect from Purdue.
Well, and in his first opportunity to impress the fans, some who had asked about the high price they paid for him might be feeling it was worth it.
Well, John Robinson said, I'd make that trade in a moment again. He thinks that this kid's potential is unlimited. Houston picked him, the third player picked in the draft, but couldn't sign him. Dickerson, tripped up just as he was breaking into the clear.
Off the heels of Barry Redden, number 30, and I think it was his own man that tripped him.
And a timeout taken by the Rams.
End of the game.
Well, that's enough to make a loyal Rams fan faint. 103 yards passing to only 31 rushing in the first half. You haven't seen a graphic like that all year.
And Jim Everett, I think, has already exceeded the optimistic hopes of the coaching staff today.
He's got them in field goal range, trailing 13-7. And looking for more. And finds more. Barry Redden. Touchdown. And what that made that such a special play was Everett's patience. The young man waited, knew that his primary target wasn't there, and found Redden underneath.
You'll see number 30, Barry Redden, coming into the left side of your picture. Watch the sidearm flick around the man right there. Little sidearm toss. He showed us a variety of throwing motions and a variety of velocity. But what he has done here very quickly is to establish the fact that he can feel what's happening on the field.
Lansford gives the Rams the lead, 14-13. As Jim Everett goes 6 for 7 in the second quarter, 100 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns, 34 yards to Ellard and 24 yards to Redden. And Everett can run. He can run, too. He's going to go all the way to the end zone to congratulate Redden.
Kind of enthusiasm, the kind of leadership that you've got to exhibit if you're going to be an on-field leader as a quarterback. Boy, I tell you, that got to warm the cockles of John Robinson's heart. He had hoped to put this young man into a situation where he could get some positive learning today, and most importantly, not make the big mistakes that might crush his psyche. Well, quite the opposite has happened. In fact, Robinson may be criticized for being too cautious with Everett.
Well, they say what they like about this young man is he can put on a tuxedo and be right with all the Hollywood's finest, and then he'll go out and drink beer with the boys, and they love him, too. He relates to all aspects of the team, and he spends time with everyone.
Can go out with the swells and then to the swills, huh?
That's right. Yeah. He has certainly performed in this second quarter. Now it's New England with a minute and a half remaining, and they've got time to try to regain the lead as they trail for the first time today. Greg Hawthorne, the up-back tight end, tackled by Tim Terrell from Northern Illinois, just signed by the Rams yesterday.
Bruce Snyder, Dick Torrey, both talking. If they only gave Everett 8 plays, they're probably panicking at this point. Of course, he does have access to more plays, and I think showing them that he has the kind of flexibility that he's demonstrated already will encourage them to go ahead and give him some opportunities here.
That was quite a drive, 79 yards in 8 plays. Everett was 4 for 4 on the drive. 63 of the yards belonged to his arm. Now it's Tony Eason wearing the other number 11. He's got a man, Stanley Morgan, who ducks out of bounds with a first down at the 38.
Looks like Sean Miller may be injured, Dick. Pete Brock blocking on him on that play. Took him all the way past Tony Eason and dumped him. And right now they're looking at his right leg. No, it's Meisner, 69, the nose tackle. It's Meisner on the ground.
Los Angeles.
Rams use the timeout. We'll have a rundown of all the activity of this 11th week of the season. NFL 86 at halftime. Meisner, fortunately, it does not appear to be serious. 15 yards on the play from Eason to Morgan, and Stanley Morgan continues to have an all-pro year with the Patriots. He's had 4 catches, and all have been right around 15, 16 yards for the Pats.
Marv Goose signaling in the defense from the sideline. Fritz Shermer, the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams, man who designed and who was the architect of this #1 defense in the NFL. There's Shermer. Spent some of his time in New England working with the defensive line there before he came to the Rams, and he says effectively our defensive game is patience and efficiency. What they'll try to do, as we said earlier, is keep that offensive team in front of them, make them work their way down the field, and hope that they get impatient, that they make the mistake, that they make the bad play.
Yeah, part of that philosophy too, Merlin, that you can appreciate that when they're in front of you, that means they're looking back when they catch the ball, and you're pounding them from the blind side, and that can make you a little jittery.
Exactly right, especially when you have a hard-hitting secondary. And the Rams rotate those safeties in particular to keep them fresh so that they can really come in and whack you in the passing game.
Eason from his own 38 on first down. To Hawthorne, the tight end. He stops the clock at the 48-yard line. Nearly 10 more yards. Johnny Johnson, the nearest Ram, left in the half, and New England has all 3 timeouts remaining.
Eason is a good quarterback to stack up against this defense, though, because his strength in the passing game is the mid-range and short passes. And he is capable of doing a good job of clearly seeing what's open on the field. And if there is anything open, the Rams have been shutting off a little bit on him, but he can throw those short passes very effectively.
Second down and short. There is one of those short passes to Collins. Collins into Ram territory and brought down at the 41. Nolan Cromwell, the veteran safety man, was the man who could not get to Collins. Made a little move on him, and then finally the tackle made by Sean Miller, 98, trailing the play. And Eason will call time to stop the clock with 1:03 left in the half. New England led 13-0, and it's been Jim Everett, 2 touchdown passes to rally the Rams.
Eason right now looking to bring his team back, moving them down the field. Mike Wilshire, number 54, broke inside on a blitz on that last play and nailed Eason, but Eason was able to keep his concentration and get that ball off and put it in the hands of his receiver.
We were talking about Brian Holloway, the veteran tackle from Stanford, and just to finish that story, what he is proposing to do and is willing to offer his time to lead is to acquire from National Football League players various memorabilia, everything from helmets to whatever, and in an auction raise money for the children the victims of the space shuttle. And a lot of athletes don't really learn about giving back for a while. They leave the game. But here's Holloway in only his 6th season trying to do something very rich and worthy. And we congratulate him in his efforts. The ball is at the 42-yard line of the Los Angeles Rams. New England trailing 14-13. The Rams using 6 defensive backs. And Eason operating from the shotgun with 4 wide receivers. Scrambling, looking, throwing wide open is Cedric Jones, and he's out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Cedric Jones in his 5th year from Duke University, a 23-yard gain. Boy, Eason's moving them very effectively.
Eason in this opportunity uses his agility and his quickness to get upfield. Look at him just pop out of the pack there. And still, with his concentration downfield, Cedric Jones is open and very soon has that football in hand. Out of bounds, stops the clock, 19-yard line, 1st and 10. They're after that touchdown.
Collins on the inside handoff. Oh, he's open. And dragged down at the 2-yard line. Out of bounds, 1st and goal. Johnny Johnson saved the touchdown.
When the passing game is working, you force the defense to concentrate on it, and there's the little misdirection play, the little handoff, upfield very quickly. There's nobody there to touch him. Johnny Johnson, number 20, got him by the back of the neck and pulls him down, but he's inside the 2-yard line.
Greg Hawthorne threw a terrific block on a linebacker to open the way for Collins. So the Patriots see a 13-0 lead evaporate in the 2nd quarter. The Rams go in front 14-13. But Raymond Berry's team has marched very effectively and efficiently downfield. Play action. Eason, no one open. Now throws wide to Beatty, and we may have a hole in the end zone.
Carl Eckert, number 55, was there, along with Mel Owens, number 58. Beatty pointing to him and saying, hey, I'd have been able to catch that ball, but for these guys hanging on to me.
A mistake given on the early signal by referee Fred Silva. He indicated holding against the Patriots, but it is
Number
not.
58, holding.
Mel Owens, 58. Half the distance, or actually to the 1-yard line in this case.
At the end of this play, and you'll see Beatty working in from the right side there. See him forcing Owens out, and Owens just reaching back in and grabbed a hold of him. I thought someone hit him, but they didn't hit him. He just lost his footing down there, but it is a 1st down.
Tupu, he can't get in. The former Southern California Trojan who scored 3 touchdowns the last time these 2 teams met here in Anaheim, but he didn't make an inch.
Not only didn't get in, but I think lost yardage on that play as the right side of the Ram defense. And look at the surge. They're beaten on the surge here. Good job inside. That's Green, Kevin Green, number 91, the man who put the first helmet on him. And then look how that Ram defense swarms. Boy, I'd say that is good goal line defense.
It's a team that is proud of its overachievement. And Kevin Green is not exactly your national household name, but he leads the team in sacks. 2nd year out of Auburn. He was a walk-on in college, picked in the 5th round by the Rams a year ago. It's a team, when you take Eric Dickerson away, you'd have trouble getting the average fan to name 5 or 6 of these Rams.
Well, Fritz Schirmer's defensive scheme stresses one thing, and that's unselfishness and teamwork. And you don't get to be a star in that system, although the Rams have sent some defensive players. Leroy Irvin, for example, has gone to the Pro Bowl, and Cromwell has gotten, over the years, certainly his share of notoriety. But most of those heroes down there are heroes only in the films when they look at it and say, boy, you did a great job. You don't hear their names that often.
It is a swarming defense, and so often you'll see 5 or 6 jerseys around the man being tackled. Now, 2nd and goal. New England has 1 timeout left. 36 seconds remain as the Patriots try to regain the lead from the 2. Hawthorne, the intended target, but he was pinched on the back line of the end zone. Mark Giroux right there with him.
You get a feeling for the great confidence that Raymond Berry has in his passing game. Steve Grogan calling here in a situation where you'd be thinking run, again for the pass. Eason waits it, and then tries to flip it over the top, drop it in. Just let it come in over the top. Hawthorne, number 27, gets fingertips on it, but not enough to pull it down.
Eason threw that one. He's a excellent tennis player. He threw that like he's going for an overhead smash. He was falling away. Couldn't quite connect. 3rd and goal. Incomplete. Derwin Williams, a man who was in motion. He tried to slip in just past the goal line, but Carl Eckren, a wise veteran backer in there to break up the play, and that's a look at John Robinson. He's saying to the fans and to his team, hey, what a goal line stand. That was 1st and goal at the 1.
A moral victory for the Ram defense. With a 1st and goal from the 1-yard line, the Rams have forced New England to go for the field goal. Derwin Williams had his hands on that football, could have had a touchdown, but that's not an easy catch.
Well, Franklin, with what amounts to an extra point, this will be a
Rams trying to call a timeout. Finally did get it called. I don't know why they want a timeout. Maybe not enough men on the field, or maybe anticipating a fake field goal.
Yeah, well, both teams huddle with 27 seconds left. Cleveland has scored over at the Coliseum to cut the Raider lead to 10. Denver steamrolling the Chiefs 31-0 in the second at Mile High. Dallas, as it figured, having trouble at San Diego, 10-7, and it's 14-9. The Jets having some problems with the Colts.
The Rams had 12 men on the field, Dick, and I think anticipating that they would give them, if they were able to block the kick, another shot at it, the called timeout to readjust. I've sometimes thought it would be good if you could play with 12 defensive players all the time.
Well, the ball at the 2, and John Robinson. We saw his team rally here in this quarter behind young Jim Everett to take the lead 14-13 and a moral victory, but the Patriots nevertheless have a chance to have the lead at halftime as Franklin tries to make it 3 for 3 today and 12 in a row. The NFL's top scorer.
And even though they are not going to get the touchdown here, apparently, that was still a fine drive to get downfield on the Ram defense.
Franklin just does get that one through. 16-14 New England on the 19-yard field goal by Franklin. And undoubtedly will be told to skid one down. Don't risk a long return with the dangerous Ron Brown there to receive for the Rams.
John Robinson talking to his return team, giving them some encouragement. And you're absolutely right. You look for Ron Brown and you say, let's keep it away from him. Although the Rams, in a kickoff situation, a return situation, have been stacking their 2 deep men. So you can't tell which side Brown is going to go to.
John Robinson, so many coaches are good psychologists. You get the feeling Robinson could have been a psychiatrist. He really gets into the minds and feelings of his players. He's quite unique. We had a long discussion with him yesterday. He's very open with his conversation, with his feelings, thinks positively. He's the kind of man who would say, hey, I think you could do better if you tried this, rather than saying, hey, don't do that again.
I don't think there's a coach in football who has created more of a positive environment for his players than John Robinson. In fact, if there's heat to be delivered, he delivers it to his assistant coaches. And he backs his players all the way.
If there was someone who would rate with Robinson, it would be the man across the field
today. I think so. I think if you took a poll, an inside a clubhouse poll, you'd find that these are the 2 most happy teams, at least with their coaches, in the NFL.
That's Charles White, the former Heisman winner at Southern California, and he takes it to the 35-yard line. Mosi Tutupu, who played almost the 60 minutes last week. He's the special team star. He makes the tackle.
86 plays last week. Getting back to the coaching styles of these 2 coaches, the other thing that I really appreciate about both of these head coaches is that they ask their players for maturity. They put the responsibility on the player. There are so many organizations in the NFL that are almost quasi-military. There goes Rod McSwain, who has had such a brilliant day on special teams with a block kick, a near block kick, and several other big plays, a recovered fumble.
Well, you were making the point because I know as a player, you didn't want to be tucked in bed at 10:30 at night and fined because you didn't wear the right kind of clothes or you didn't shave or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely true. John Robinson, in fact, has no rules for his team. No weigh-in. He in essence, rarely puts a curfew on them, doesn't ask them for any kind of dress code, and just simply says, you have your responsibility, and that's to come ready to play.
Fans giving Everett and the Rams a standing ovation at the far end of the field. Everett with 2 touchdown passes in his NFL debut as the Rams just let the clock run out to end this first half. And an interesting half it has been. 16-14 New England.
A very interesting half of good football back and forth. The Rams showing us a pass game. Shocked us all.
Eric Dickerson, they might be fanning him right now down in the locker room. We'll return to Anaheim Stadium and NFL 86 after these messages from your local station.
NFL 86.
We welcome you back to our studios in New York. Let's catch you up to date on what's going on around the NFL. Some of you watching the Patriot-Ram game, which New England leads 16-14 at the half, but the story, the NFL debut of Jim Everett. He replaces Steve Dills early on, and he throws for 2 touchdowns. This was the second NFL pass of his career. Henry Ellard is on the receiving end of the 34-yarder. A bit later, he hit Barry Redden from 24 to account for both Ram touchdowns in the first half. They trail it by 2. The Raiders are in front of Cleveland 17-7. Jim Plunkett starting at quarterback for L.A. He hit his favorite target, Dokie Williams, early on with this pass. We'll take a look at it. It covered 46 yards. A bit later, Plunkett goes to Todd Christensen for 3 yards. Kevin Mack has a 1-yard scoring run for the only Browns touchdown. Here's the catch and run by Dokie Williams down the sideline, staying in bounds. 17-7 in favor of the Raiders. They are late in the first half in that one. Denver and Kansas City. The Denver defense has been the entire story. Randy Robbins sacks Bill Kenny on the play you're about to see, and Kenny coughs the ball up, and Andre Townsend picks it up and returns it 7 yards for a touchdown. On the very next play from scrimmage, the same thing happened. Kenny was sacked. There you see Townsend rolling in. Kenny was sacked. They recovered the ball at the 1-yard line. Gerald Wilhite scored from there. They also got a touchdown on a fake punt and a pass from Chris Norman to Steve Watson, and then Gerald Wilhite returned a punt 70 yards for a touchdown. So it hasn't been the offense for Denver, it's been the defense. 31-7 they lead. They'll go 2 games up on Kansas City in the AFC West. Dallas is at San Diego. They go to the half with a 10-7 lead there. Dan Fouts is at quarterback for the Chargers. The Jets in front of Indianapolis at halftime in that game, 14-9. And let's turn to Paul McGuire, who picked the Colts. No surprise there. He's picked against the Jets every week. He picks the Colts to win the game outright, and they are hanging tough.
They're hanging tough, and they have 1 interception in the game and a fumble. But the thing that's really disturbing, I think, for the Jets is the fact that people are dropping the ball all over the place on O'Brien. And they're letting the Colts get to him. And I'm going to tell you something. You can't afford to get any more people hurt. They already got 1. Gastineau goes down.
Suppose the Colts were to win this game. Would you go back out to the Meadowlands in your armored car to gloat?
No, not at all. Not at all, because the Jets, they are a strong football team. But the Colts then may be in the playoff picture.
Yeah, at 1-10. Wesley Walker has caught 2 touchdown passes from Ken O'Brien. The great veteran Walker now has 11 touchdown receptions for the season. Finals from earlier today. Cincinnati comes up with 5 sacks against the suddenly hapless Seahawk offense. They win 34-7. Esiason throws for better than 300 yards. The Giants over Minnesota 22-20. Raul Allegre kicked 5 field goals, a 33-yarder toward the end, won it, and this is what set it up. 4th and 17 on their final drive, and here's Sims with the clutch pass, good for 22 yards to Bobby Johnson. As Bill Parcells looks on, Sims celebrates. It allowed Allegre to kick the game winner with about 10 seconds to play, and the Giants go to 9-2. For the moment, a half-game lead on the Redskins in the NFC East. Skins home tomorrow night against San Francisco. Chicago trailed 10-3 at halftime, but they come back
to beat Atlanta 13-10. Here's a big play early in the third quarter. Mike Tomczak, who did not have a great day, does come through on this play to Emery Moorhead, and the catch and run good for 85 yards. He is caught at the 1. Tomczak goes in on the next play. That tied it up. A Kevin Butler 44-yard field goal in the third quarter provided the margin. 13-10. Chicago wins it. Miami beats Buffalo 34-24. Dan Marino, better than 400 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He leads the NFL with 27 scoring throws for the season. New Orleans goes to 6-5. They beat the Cardinals in St. Louis 16-7. Pittsburgh over Houston today. The final in that game, 21-10. All the scoring in the first half. Detroit beat Philadelphia 13-11 on Eddie Murray's 40-yard field goal with 12 seconds left. And Green Bay got 3 touchdown passes from Randy Wright. They win the Battle of the Bays over Tampa. Each club now 2-9, 31-7. The final today at Milwaukee's County Stadium. That'll do it. We'll send you back to the field.
Jim Everett, high expectations, and he has delivered in his NFL debut. After missing on his first pass 6 in a row, 2 for touchdowns, 6 for 7 on the quarter, and 101 yards, a couple of scores. That was after the first touchdown pass, and that came after the second Irving Fryer fumble on a punt return. So the Rams, in essence, got 1 score out of a muff fumble. And, of course, on the other side, New England took advantage of the block punt.
New England coming right back to even things out on special teams as Rod McSwain ripped in from the right-hand side. A mix-up in the blocking by the Ram punting team. You'll see McSwain, right-hand side of your screen. Perfect timing as he blocks the kick and then picks it up here and carries it into the end zone with all kinds of help. Later on, another near block as he actually went beyond the ball and almost blocked the second one.
Well, for those of you who have been with us, it was a half that had so many elements, right down to the final sequence where the Patriots drive downfield, have first and goal on the 1, and a goal line stand for the Rams, force the Patriots to go for the field goal.
Excellent football, and really hard-fought football down on the field, the kind you enjoy being a part of and enjoy watching. And some surprises. New England able to do a fine job of containing Dickerson, who's carried it 10 times for only 25 yards so far on the day. At the same time, Collins has 5 carries for 25 yards, so they're able to get their running game going a little bit. But neither team showing the strength in their one-dimensional offenses. And we said that early. The Rams, a running team, have not gotten big running, and New England, a passing team, has not been as dominant passing as we expected them to be.
All right, the teams are returning to the field here in Anaheim, California. The New England Patriots leading the Rams 16-14. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. You look at the left-hand column first, the Patriots. You didn't expect them to rush. They didn't, 29 yards. You expect them to throw, and they got 161. But the right side is where the surprise is.
Well, and for a team that is not known as a throwing team, young Jim Everett in his first NFL exposure, 2 touchdowns so far in this ball game, and that's the stat that makes it unbelievable. The fact that the Rams are the only team in the NFL with more rushing yardage than passing yardage, and by a substantial margin.
But Eric Dickerson held in check with 25 yards, and Everett filling that void. And, well, we'll just see what surprises might be in store for Everett in the second half. You're a defensive player. You've got to figure that Raymond Berry said, okay, they're probably going to stay with the rookie. Here is maybe a surprise or 2 for him.
Well, Rod Rust, I'm sure, saying to his defense, and it's a veteran defense with plenty of tricks up their sleeve, they'll show Everett some of those here in this second half.
Rams will get the ball to open the second half. Tony Franklin kicking to Ron Brown and Charles White. Leading 16-14. Franklin's kick spinning to the side and headed for out of bounds. A 5-yard penalty. It's amazing that Franklin, who is a good long-distance field goal kicker, is not a better kickoff man.
He has had leg problems, has had a calcium buildup under the kneecap, was operated on last year in the offseason to try and take some of the pressure away, but he just has not been able to get the depth on those kickoffs that you would like him to have. And you see, you feel his frustration. You can almost read the lips from here. He's upset.
You look at the left-hand column first, the Patriots. You didn't expect them to rush. They didn't. 29 yards. You expect them to throw, and they got 161. But the right side is where the surprise is.
Well, and for a team that is not known as a throwing team, young Jim Everett in his first NFL exposure, 2 touchdowns so far in this ball game, and that's the stat that makes it unbelievable. The fact that the Rams are the only team in the NFL with more rushing yardage than passing yardage, and by a substantial margin.
But Eric Dickerson held in check with 25 yards, and Everett filling that void. And, well, we'll just see what surprises might be in store for Everett in the second half. You're a defensive player. You've got to figure that Raymond Berry said, okay, they're probably going to stay with the rookie. Here is maybe a surprise or two for him.
Well, Rod Rust, I'm sure, saying to his defense, and it's a veteran defense with plenty of tricks up their sleeve, they'll show Everett some of those here in the second half.
Rams will get the ball to open the second half. Tony Franklin kicking to Ron Brown and Charles White. Leading 16-14. Franklin's kick spinning to the side and headed for out of bounds, and that will bring with it a 5-yard penalty. It's amazing that Franklin, who is a good long-distance field goal kicker, is not a better kickoff man.
He has had leg problems, has had a calcium buildup under the kneecap, was operated on last year in the offseason to try and take some of the pressure away, but he just has not been able to get the depth on those kickoffs that you would like him to have, and you see, you feel his frustration. You can almost read the lips from here. He's upset, and of course kicking on the angle, trying to get it into the end zone to eliminate the return, but now they'll move it back 5 yards, and as a kicker who doesn't have that real power in his leg, he puts his coverage team again at the disadvantage.
For those Bear puppies, he said, boy, is it nice to be on this grass. As he warmed up yesterday, warm weather coming from a rather cold week in New England. He said he loves to kick on the grass. I might feel it's better for him on the carpet. High, but very short. Brown all the way to the 20-yard line. Brought down by Greg Beatty at the 36, just as he was sprinting into open field. Eric Dickerson and the Rams take the field. Dickerson's longest run was 9 yards. He had a couple in that 5 to 9 range, but they kept him well in check, and a total of 25 for the half.
That's the way you have to contain Dickerson. You can't let him break into the open with that speed of his. If he gets away, he's gone.
He's got 4 fancy automobiles and 95 pairs of shoes, and that comes from some long runs, not those 9-yarders. Everett comes out throwing and hits Ellard. Was he in bounds? Yes, at the 50-yard line. That's 7 in a row from Everett, and most of them to Henry Ellard.
Let's see if he's in bounds. Looked to me like he just got those toes down. Does he have the ball?
He does.
He does.
What a play. And that's a real ballet job.
You know who that looks like? Raymond Berry. You remember those classic shots of Berry on the sideline, touching those toes down?
Yeah, Berry had the best look in the house. He was about 5 yards away from Ellard. First down at the 50. That flopping in the air and almost intercepted by Steve Nelson, who had a brace of interceptions last week against the Colts. Lawrence McGrew hitting Everett as he threw.
Shades of Andre Tippett, and we see Tippett coming in so many times from that outside position. McGrew, who is an excellent athlete, I'm sure pleasing his injured teammate, protecting that position out there. We want respect for that left linebacker.
So you had Reynolds, 95, another linebacker, talking with Tippett. 2nd and 10, just underway in the second half. Patriots leading the Rams 16-14. Dickerson run out of bounds at the 46 of New England by Fred Marion, a Pro Bowler, or at least he thought he should have been last year. He had a Pro Bowl year with his 7 interceptions plus 3 in the playoffs.
Don Blackman, 55, up inside. He can't catch Dickerson, and it takes the back from the inside. Number 31, Fred Marion, to match speed with Dickerson. He simply outran some rather fast linebackers and would have had a big gain up the sideline.
3rd and a short 7. Everett, who had limited game plan coming in, but so successful that Robinson stays with him. Oh, he had a man wide open. Kevin House, and couldn't find him down at the 40. House was absolutely clear, but Everett too tall with the throw. Dale Hatcher comes in, and the punting team for New England will feature Fryer back around the 10.
I wonder if they have spent some time straightening out their blocking on the punt. I'm sure they have.
Rod McSwain, 31 yards and a touchdown with a block punt to give New England a 13-0 lead. Hatcher hangs it high. Fryer fair catch at the 18-yard line. Hatcher not happy with that punt. Timeout here in Anaheim, California. 16-14 New England. New England's first possession after a short 28-yard punt by Hatcher. The Patriots have it at their 19 with a 2-point lead. 3 Tony Franklin field goals accounting for the 16 points. 7 points for the one touchdown. Hawthorne underneath the tight end, and he's been busier than normal. Had 18 catches coming in. Hawthorne had 3 receptions in the first half. His 4th here early. In the second half, 8-yard gain. The late scores, the Raiders at the half, leading Cleveland by 10. Denver 31-7 over the Chiefs. Dallas now, as they move into the third period at San Diego Stadium, 10-7 against the Chargers, and the Jets by 5 at home against the Colts. 2nd and 2. Collins with a flag down to the 29. Doug Reed is playing injured, made the tackle. New England will not get the first down.
We talked earlier about Raymond Berry's confidence in his team and the fact that they have had to overcome a lot of injuries this year. He said, I've always taken the position that we can beat anyone in the league, but if it weren't for our depth, I wouldn't be saying that. And certainly when you lose an Andre Tippett, when you have offensive linemen going down, when you're operating, this is the first time, they had one other time during the year, even including the preseason, that they have had 4 healthy running backs. Now that's got to scare you.
In fact, Reggie Dupard, their #1 pick from SMU, was activated this week. But the word was we would not see Dupard unless it was a situation where a couple of those backs were injured and could not play. On the draw, Collins. Oh, beautiful open field tackle by Jerry Gray, who leads the Rams with 6 interceptions. That's 3rd best in the NFL behind Ronnie Lott's 8 and Ron Lippett's 7.
Draw plays usually designed to go up inside. Collins looks inside and sees nothing but blue jerseys. And, of course, running laterally is not going to get you the first down. A little shoulder tackle on the outside, but plenty effective. Long yardage, 3rd and 9.5, 10 yards to go.
So the 4th sack for the Rams faces this Anaheim Stadium crowd. Kevin Green and Sean Miller collaborating.
Well, if you want to throw the football, you got to protect your quarterback. New England unable to do it here. Watch the protection collapse around Tony Eason. Sean Miller, 98, and 71. Kevin Green, the 2 men that end up with a handful of quarterback and a little high five. And, hey, you deserve that, fellas.
Both teams had 3 sacks in the first half, and there's #3, Camarillo, who had a long one of 48, but a short one of 19 in the first half. Henry Ellard, after a holdout, seemingly now playing back to his form of the last couple of years. Another scupper by Camarillo, but it takes a good roll to Ellard at the 45, and he's out of bounds at the New England 42. A flag is down.
I think we may have a holding call on the return team on that particular play.
A 44-yard punt with a fortunate roll and a 13-yard return. Let's see if it holds up.
Camarillo, of course, with 2 punts blocked earlier in a game against Seattle that turned that game around. One of New England's losses earlier in the year. And has been pressured a great deal because of those 2 blocked punts. The first 2 he'd had blocked in the NFL, and he said, hey, since that happened, there have been a lot of people coming after him, and that forces you to hurry and occasionally will force you into the bad kick. His second bad kick of the day, but he got away with that one.
The discussion by the officials maybe as to if there was holding against the Rams, did it occur before or after the punt?
On the kicking team, after the kick, it'll be 10 yards from the spot of the dead ball spot.
So had it occurred before the ball was punted, then it could have been a first down on the hold for New England. But the ball already in the air, and it becomes the possession of the receiving team, and they mark it off from where Ellard went out of bounds 10 yards. Wait a minute, they've gone the other way with it.
Timeout.
They've taken it down to the 37-yard line with a timeout. Protection you can. Most backs like it light. He loads up, and he still can carry the ball and run away from folks. And Dickerson gets the call, fouls to the 31-yard line. Let's go back to some unfinished business. The penalty, a rare penalty against the kicking team after the ball has been kicked. So that accounted for the ball being marked. 44-yard punt, 13-yard return, then 10 more yards against the Patriots that took it down to the New England 37-yard line. So it's 2nd down and 4 at the 31.
Apparently, Guy Morris keeping one of the linemen from getting back to block on the return. Most unusual.
Dickerson again. Oh, what a quick move. Inside the 25 and a first down. Brent Williams made the tackle. 8 more yards for Dickerson. And, of course, the passing game will open up things for Eric, and he's got to be rooting as hard as anyone for Everett.
I don't think anyone wants them to have a passing game more than Eric Dickerson. He still wants his carries, but with a good passing game, he becomes even more devastating. And imagine how good they can be on play-action passing, faking the ball to Dickerson and then dropping back.
Jim Everett, from 8 plays cold to maybe playing the whole last 3 quarters, and nothing wrong with that. Toss to Ron Brown. What appears to be close to another first down. 9 more yards. Roland James, the defender.
Well, they've asked young Jim Everett to throw a lot of different kinds of passes today. This one takes good arm and good accuracy. Just a little out there in front of Roland James and Ronnie Lepet. He threw it beautifully. It's been a storybook afternoon for Jim Everett so far.
Absolutely perfect. Almost as well as grandiose as your debut as it with the Rams. Dickerson with a first down to about the 11-yard line. Did you win a game that first year?
I'm not sure I remember that. But the one thing I can tell you, Dick Enberg, is that when I went out there, I didn't have that whole crowd focused in on me as young Jim Everett does. There's some good blocking on that last play, as you see. Big David Hill, number 81, as we said, he's just another tackle masquerading as a tight end, putting a good helmet on somebody in there. And Dickerson stacked up, though, with some good play by the linebackers inside. 9.5 minutes left in the third quarter. The Rams trailing by 2 have a first down outside the New England 11-yard line. Barry Redden, misdirection, and Barry Redden has a touchdown. Now the Rams had some special plays designed for the Patriots. I have a feeling, Merlin Olsen, that was one of them. It certainly was, Dick. A little misdirection play that got everybody thinking about Dickerson going this way, and Barry starts back in here and then cuts it back against the grain. Watch it here. He starts over, then he comes back against the grain. Good block by 75 Pankey, and there it is, all the way into the inside, and they were looking at Dickerson. They got a whole fistful of Barry Redden. Lansford adds the extra point, and the Rams travel 37 yards in 5 plays to take the lead.
6.
So the Rams used only 1 pass that time, the 9-yard throw to Brown, and the rushing game gets them back on top. 21-16 with 9:15 left in the third quarter. The middle man, Stephen Starring, with Cedric Jones to his left and Greg Hawthorne to his right. Lansford to kick it off. Late afternoon shadows now have grown over the field here at Anaheim Stadium. Lansford hits this one deep. 1 yard line, Starring. And he returns to the 27-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown by Redden.
As Redden starts in motion, watch the two linebackers, Nelson and Rembert, reacting to their left. The secret to the play, however, is great blocking inside by Newberry and Pankey, who leads up through the hole. Now watch it as it breaks. You see Redden driving over 3 new plays put in for Redden by the Ram offense this week. The first block on the outside, Newberry. Second block right there, Pankey. And then Redden just does his job by running over an out-of-control Roland James and then powering over Fred Marion, number 31, into the end zone.
Barry Redden was the #1 draft pick of the Rams in '82 out of Richmond University, and many feel he would be a star with a lot of teams, but lost in the shadow of Dickerson, but a terrific runner. Eason just does get it away, and that could be trouble. Collins scrambling, and it's still a big loss. Sean Miller made the play. Reggie Doss as well. Kansas City gets another touchdown, trailing by 17, however, at Denver. San Diego, the Chargers, after their win 9-3 at Denver last week, come back trying to stun Dallas in San Diego, and the Jets hold on to their 5-point advantage.
San Diego playing defense.
Al Saunders, their new coach, says it's going to be ball control and defense. And Dan Fouts returning to the lineup for the Chargers. That doesn't hurt. Eason, a quickie. Tony Collins to the 35. Going to be close at the 36 to a first down, but a yard shy on 3rd and 1 then coming up. 15 yards on that play. Jerry Gray got him out of bounds. Tony Eason and Ken O'Brien, it shows you geographically how small this world is. Eason is from Walnut Grove, California, about 25 miles from Sacramento. Walnut Grove has less than 1,000 people. Eason went to the big school, Illinois. Ken O'Brien from Sacramento went to the little school, UC Davis, where Bo Eason, Tony Eason's brother, was a roommate. Now they're all together. In fact, O'Brien and Eason are 1-2 in the NFL passing derby. Tupu peeling his way, and all he finds is blue and gold short of a first down. Nothing there at all.
We talked about a swarming defense, Dick, and we're just going to turn this loose. Let's let it go right down to the end until we see Tupu coming inside, and then we'll stop it. And look at how many Rams are in the picture, and stop it right there. Look at how many red shirts, or how many, not red shirts, how many blue shirts, the blue shirts, and all these other guys fighting to get into the picture. That is amazing defense. Look at that. Before he went to the ground, there are literally 11 defensive players who had a chance to reach over and be a part of that tackle.
Now Camarillo has had some problems of his own punting today. The kick to Henry Ellard. And flag down. Oh, that may have been a break for New England. The Rams obviously had a punt block on, and Jerry Gray had shot through, but they used more than the 30 seconds, and that might have been
delay, number 3.
Might have been the best penalty of the game for New England, as Gray was shooting through.
I got to tell you, that's Dante Scarnecchia with the hat on the right-hand side of your screen, and his heart pounded a little bit on that one as well.
That's like in a key poker match, somehow just exposing your ace.
Dropping the card on the table.
10 men on the line of scrimmage. They're coming after him again.
That's a line driver.
Ellard eluded Gibson, a flag down, and so is Ellard at the 33-yard line.
We've got an illegal block in the back on Ed Reynolds.
Tim Fox, I believe, was the culprit.
Number 48, Tim Fox, the man that hit him. And you'll see it. Watch as Ellard makes it to the outside. He gets away from one man there. It looks like someone else is in it. Reynolds in position to take him, and you saw Fox on the back, and Tim Fox wanting desperately to play well today.
Receiving team, number 48, illegal block above the waist, in the back.
A number 1 draft pick
First down.
#1 draft pick by New England back in '76, traded away. This is his first chance to play against his old teammates.
And with it, a timeout. Well, a team that has rushed more than it has passed yards gained this year, and 3-1 in favor of passing. And Jim Everett's influence very prominent there. Young man who said that Lenny Dawson was his idol. One of the reasons he went to Purdue University from Albuquerque. His dad is a professor at the University of New Mexico. This handsome young man is making his presence felt in a hurry. Dickerson. Fred Marion dragging him down. And Dickerson across to the 26. Gain of about 7.
If you want to establish the running game, you need the blocking of the big tight end. And look what he does to Don Blackman here. Drives him to the outside, and Dickerson has that unusual ability and the instincts to know where that hole is opening up, and then has the quickness and the explosion to take advantage of it.
Andre Tippett, who may be salivating, wishing he had a chance to take a shot at him.
So hard for a competitor like Tippett to stand on that sideline.
Flanker screen. Ron Brown, and a first down at the 35. Roland James wrestles him out of bounds. The early finals, we'll run those through for you. Now, the biggest surprise of the day could be in San Diego as they lead the Cowboys by 4. First down. Rams, they lead 21-16. Barry Redden. Oh, he was one block away from breaking that one for a long, long gain. Don Blackman may have saved about a 30, 40-yard play.
Again, the defense looking for Eric Dickerson. You'll see it from the backside. They're expecting Dickerson to have that football. But it's almost the reverse of an earlier play. Different position for Redden. But he's coming back against the grain, getting good blocks in there by Dennis Hara, number 60. And the center on that play, Doug Smith, as he broke it up inside to get close to the first down.
2nd and 1. Ooh, good long arm fake. And that one thrown away as his man Ellard. You know, it almost was not open. It almost seems as if, and in talking with Coach Robinson yesterday, he said, well, we're going to basically give him one primary target, and as soon as he's not covered, the second. But it's no question who that primary target was. Henry Ellard has been the man almost every time that Everett has looked for initially.
You see the plays being signaled in. You're absolutely right. And look at that smile from Jolly John. You better believe he can smile. He said, Plan A is to put Everett in and keep him for a series. If he doesn't play well, bring him out. Plan B, put him in and leave him there for 10 years.
Eric Dickerson has the first down out to the 47. Flag is down, and so is Dennis Hara, number 60. Raymond Berry holding his breath whenever 29 gets the ball, and indeed he's a touchdown waiting to happen. Dennis Hara on the ground, and Hara has been one of the big leaders of this team, the veteran from Miami of Florida, and he and Everett, interestingly, have developed a close relationship. They room on the road. In fact, Everett calls him Pappy, and Hara, who knows all of the angles and joints of a NFL season, has been like an extra coach working with Everett, an offensive lineman. And this, in terms of holding your breath, this is where the Rams are holding theirs.
Let's go inside and look at Dennis Hara right here in your picture. We can see how he gets hurt on this particular play. Blocks his man inside, one of the linebackers, and just slipped on the turf, his leg going back underneath him, and it might possibly be a leg injury, but it might be a back injury too. He was in a very awkward position, and happily he is up off the ground I want to tell you something. When he came on board with the Rams, he was a young, happy boy out of the country, big, physically strong upstairs with very small calves. We used to tease him about his calves, but a powerful body and such a fun-loving kind of guy. But as you said it, Dick, he has developed into one of the strongest leaders on this Ram team.
In fact, because of his upper body strength, they called him Herc for Hercules. Appears to be not a serious injury, and that might be the difference between a grass field and an artificial field, that injury.
That little slip right there. But the other thing that happens, at least there's some forgiveness in this grass field. If you lock those cleats up on the artificial turf, you get yourself hurt sometimes when you shouldn't even get hurt.
First down for the Rams at their own 47. And the rookie Everett going for 6. Look at that long throw to Brown. Right on the money, but so is Ronnie Lepet. Fine defensive play by 42 Lepet.
Well, the Rams said they were going to try and run right and throw to the right, meaning that they would go after Lepet. And there he is at the last second timing his jump. Had he not timed it perfectly, you either get the flag on that play, or if you get there too late, you've got to try and strip the ball away, because Jim Everett could not have thrown it any better.
Well, those of you who are looking in on the NFL debut of Jim Everett, it'll be interesting 5 years from now to reflect on this day. He certainly has been impressive. Drills that one for a first down, and guess who has it? Henry Allard. That's the 7th time that he's completed a pass to Henry Allard, who had only 2 all year. Of course, he reported late in a contract dispute.
Well, Coach Raymond Berry talked about depth. Tony Slayton, 61, in there to replace Hara, and still they're able to give good protection to the young quarterback. And one thing I've noticed, I watched him early, his feet were chattering in there. Now, he's just rolling back and settling in. He's getting more comfortable as the day goes on.
21 yards on that throw. First down at the Patriot 36. 4.5 minutes left in the third period. Redden breaks a tackle, fumbles at the 33-yard line. Whose ball? New England. So Redden on the second effort, and so often that happens, fumbles the ball, and the Rams have fumbled more than any NFL team. 19 times they've lost the ball, and they lose it here.
That's good. Can we replay the last of that play just after the fumble? Because Dickerson was standing there, and Craig James standing next to him, and just kind of pushed him, rolling all the way down to the end. Let's watch the play. We'll see the fumble, and I think what we'll see is an interesting byplay between the two members of the old SMU Pony Express backfield. Now just let it keep rolling here if we can. Oh gosh, I don't know if we're going to have it on this one, but Dickerson anyway was standing there, and James just gave him a little punch just for fun, and Dickerson started to react and then realized who it was.
Out of bounds goes Irving Pryor at the 40-yard line. Mel Owens and Jerry Gray made the play. So New England stopping the progress of the Rams, who certainly have taken command in this third quarter. The running game complementing Everett's passing, but Redden, who scored the touchdown on the 11-yard run, fumbles it away.
You see that stat, which is not a good one for the Rams. They have lost the ball more times than any team in the NFL on fumbles. Dickerson has had problems hanging on to the football this year in particular.
Good catch by Morgan, who had to reach back to pick that one off at the 50-yard line. It's a first down. Ekron with the tackle. So Morgan gets 10 more yards. The Steamer from Tennessee continues to be not only a tough receiver. He gets 5 catches, but he's got the threat to go deep, and now he's catching the tough ball, and that was not an easy catch.
In traffic. You're absolutely right. Spinning around. Earlier in the year, what do you have? 300-yard games back-to-back, and was going for a fourth. Didn't quite make it.
New England now trailing by 5. 3 minutes, 40 seconds left in the third quarter. From midfield, Eason lets it go deep for Morgan. And he's 5 yards too long. There was just a little bump in the middle of the pattern, and Morgan pointing at Jerry Gray saying, wasn't that an illegal bump downfield? They said incidental contact, but that was the difference in that one being a touchdown.
Well, let's look and see what happens. Now, beyond the 5-yard zone, you're not allowed to touch the man. Although if they consider it incidental contact, then I'd agree with you, Dick. But a smart play by Gray, who I think felt the positioning of the officials and knew that his body was going to shield that little bump. And, of course, Morgan is saying, how did you let him get away with that? But good defensive backs always know where those officials are, and they know how to use that subtle little tap and the subtle little grab.
Eason, a little quickie, incomplete to Craig James. After going deep, they tried to throw underneath, but Eason had to unload in a hurry. Kevin Green putting the pressure on. Well, you say the defensive backs know where the officials are. Are you implying that defensive linemen don't?
Well,
did you know where they were?
Yes, I knew where they were. But sometimes I wish they were a little closer so they could call all the holding.
You fellas never did anything.
No. I got to tell you that the offensive linemen know where that umpire is, too. And they know that he's over on the side of the tight end. And on the backside, very often knowing that, they'll use that outside hand just to hook.
3rd and 10. Eason has a man open but can't find Stein at the 35-yard line. Pass too tall, and the punting team comes on.
New England, after working so effectively on that short passing game early in the ball game, now having trouble moving the ball against the NFL's #1 rated defense.
Don't forget, next Sunday on NBC, some outstanding action again will be at Giants Stadium as the Broncos and the Giants' 2 first-place teams do battle. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Buffalo, New England, Indianapolis, Houston, and 1 late game, Kansas City and St. Louis. They'll let that one fly, and it kicks into the end zone for the touchback. Rams will begin at the 20-yard line. 3:16 left in the 3rd quarter. The Rams lead 21-16 here in Anaheim. And other late action. Raiders still by 10 at home against the Browns. Browns need to win to stay ahead of Cincinnati. The Bengals won earlier. Denver apparently cruises on against Kansas City, the surprise team in the West, 7-3 going in. San Diego now leads by 11 in the 4th quarter, early in the 4th quarter, and the Jets have opened an 8-point lead against the Colts. Well, we want you to be sure to start the basketball season right. That means next Saturday with Al McGuire in his college basketball preview. Give you more on that after this play. Dickerson cutting back, and a flag goes down as Dickerson has 2 yards. Lawrence McGrew drags him down. It's holding against the Rams.
Dennis Harrah, by the way, is back in the ball game, Dick.
Steve Nelson with an ankle is out of the New England lineup. The Al McGuire basketball preseason special is at 5:30.
Holding.
Barry
Half the
Redden.
distance to the goal line. Still first down.
This Ram offensive line doing a fine job of protecting their quarterback, a young quarterback today. They're very consistent, make few mental errors, and having worked so long together. Last year they had 4 offensive linemen. Of course, Kent Hill included, who's now been traded, made it to the Pro Bowl game.
Eli back to the 10-yard line. Barry Redden, that did not fool the Patriots. The quick hitter up the middle. .234 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Yeah, I know Al McGuire would be upset if I didn't mention that he went to prison. Went to Joliet just to bring you his own unique view of what's ahead. College basketball, he'll have all the top players, his picks for the top teams next Saturday. Everett airs it out. And again, a beautifully timed defensive play, this time by Raymond Claiborne. Claiborne is a star defensive player, and he's jawing with the Rams on the sideline saying, I didn't interfere, that's just an all-pro play.
Let's go in and look at the protection that they gave Jim Everett to give him time to get that ball away. You see some real smashing going on the line of scrimmage. This is the end of the play. What they said is that Claiborne touched the ball, and there you see him touching the football so that they do not call him for interference on Brown. Had he not touched that football, I think they would have called it.
Claiborne, who did not miss a start in high school, did not miss a game in college at the University of Texas, and he's not missed an NFL game now in his 10th year.
That is absolutely remarkable.
18 consecutive years without missing a game. 3rd and long, and they go to the draw to Dickerson. He's got little running room, but the white shirts close in at the 19, and the Ram punting team comes on. 7 yards for Dickerson on that carry. Well, when you hold him under 100 yards, your defense has done a good job, and he got only 57 last week, and he's looking at about 50 this week. Actually, he's over 60 now with that run. Pryor, who had problems fielding the punt in the first half. This is a short kick, fair catch at the 49 of New England. Steve Bartkowski's father-in-law watching down in Atlanta, Jack Oliver, recovering from some heart problems, and I know that he wants his best sent along to his father-in-law down in Georgia.
I think one of the things we expected Rod Rust and that New England defense to do more of is jumping around and blitzing and so forth, but you've got an equalizer over there. Kind of hard to do that when you still have to concentrate on Dickerson, and you know that he is such a threat to go deep. Great protection for a young quarterback.
Trailing 21-16, Tony Eason goes to work for the Pats. Intercepted by Leroy Irvin. His second interception today, 50. For he fumbles for the second time, and New England recovers. Oh, my. Twice Irvin has intercepted Eason, and both times he's fumbled it right back to New England.
And I believe it was on the same pattern at almost the same point in the field. The primary receiver right there, Irving Pryor, just as it was earlier. The early one, Pryor tipped. Did he get a tip on that one? No, Irvin just had better position. Runs into Giroux, his own man, heads up the sideline, and let's see what happens at the end of it. You remember the last time it was Craig James that recovered. Beatty, number 48, knocks the ball away. Ron Wooten with a chance to get it.
Tony Collins.
Tony Collins, the man that finally gets his hands on it on the sideline.
And now they're saying no fumble, but that's the whistle certainly couldn't have blown that one dead.
There's no way. Let's go back and look at it.
I'm sure the instant replay will come.
Let's look and see what he does. Does he touch the sideline? No, that ball is out. There's no way that that's anything but a fumble.
Someone else went out of bounds near the play, and the official closest may have been screened and thought that that was Irvin himself. But obviously he stayed in play, and it was clearly a fumble. And here's for the second time, the instant replay is going to be a positive contribution in this game. A touchdown was part of the instant replay, the first touchdown thrown by Everett to Henry Ellard.
On the play, Los Angeles had the ball, fumbled. There was an inadvertent whistle. The ball automatically goes back to the team that fumbled the ball. It's a Los Angeles first down.
That's one of the things that can happen on the field, and it really negates all of the technology that they're trying to utilize. Inadvertent whistle, and it doesn't matter what happens after that whistle blows, the ball is dead. You go back to who had the ball at that time. So at some point here, the whistle was blown on the field, and no matter what happens after that, the ball will go back to Los Angeles.
Somebody must have exhaled.
If you blow the whistle and a guy runs for a touchdown, you bring it back too. Bring it back to the spot.
Well, Leroy Irvin, part of that, he's right. So the Rams with a gift. And let's see if they take advantage. Dickerson on the screen. Breaking tackles all the way to the 15.
Eric Dickerson. They make it look like a pass. They allow the defensive lineman to come free. All the offensive linemen out in front of him. Smith, Hara, good job there. 2 blocks. Newberry, 66 down there, a 3rd block. And Dickerson runs away from a tackle by Rembert. Finally brought down, but makes a big gain on the play.
24 yards and a first down at the 15. The Rams trying to improve on a 5-point lead. Redden and a flag down. Let's go to NFL 86. Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Dick, at the Meadowlands, Colt quarterback Jack Trudeau hits wide receiver Billy Brooks, who beat Carl Howard of the Jets on this 48-yard touchdown. Paul McGuire's going crazy here. The Colts still trail the Jets 17-16 fourth quarter.
The Jets getting a scare at home. The Indianapolis Colts.
A holding call on Doug Smith, number 56, the center for the Rams, moves the ball back, and right now they'd like to get a sack, do something to kick the Rams back out of field goal range.
21-16 lead. A field goal would put the Rams more than a touchdown ahead. Dickerson. Swinging wide, breaks 2 tackles, 3 tackles, and the 4th man, Lawrence McGrew, gets him from behind with an assist of Fred Marion. We'll return after these messages from your local station. Now we go to the fourth quarter. The Rams leading 21-16. Eric Dickerson now in high gear the second half. Jim Everett's passing game opening things up for the runner Dickerson. And the Rams now trying to benefit from an inadvertent whistle that gave them the ball at the New England 39. They now have it at the 20-yard line as you look at the three-quarter statistics.
Patriots still unable to get their rushing game going, and right now the Rams' anemic passing game is showing vitamin-like strength, flexing their muscles behind Jim Everett.
Vitamin E, Jim Everett. Second down and long. Everett looking for Ellard in the end zone. Touchdown. There is no question that Jim Everett and Henry eat supper tonight. They've been together all day. 8 catches from Everett to Ellard. The E combination.
And if you listen to this crowd, there's no question that they have responded to this 3-touchdown performance by the young rookie quarterback. And in a town that is known for quarterback controversies, right now there's only one name.
Lansford's try for point. Makes it 28-16. That number 11 was worn by a pretty good Ram quarterback of old, Dutch Van Brocklin. And Jim Everett's doing it proud today. That's Henry Ellard tucking away his second touchdown catch today. It had only 2 catches on the season, but the story is Jim Everett, and the fans, while we were away, were chanting, Everett, Everett. It's Stephen Starring to the 20. Down at the 24-yard line. And as you look at the other scores, Everett is 12 for 18. 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. Well, Indianapolis, Dallas, and Cleveland making things tighter in the other games. Well, the Rams led by this young man from Purdue University, Jim Everett. He's got this crowd turned on and his teammates as well. What a sensational start. Now New England, plenty of time, 14 minutes, 43 seconds left to go to work. Let's not forget that in a way was a gift touchdown for the Rams. Collins to the 31 in that the ball had been fumbled away. New England had recovered only for an inadvertent whistle to give it right back to the Rams, and they scored 39 yards in 3 plays, 20 yards on the touchdown to Ellard.
Well, Patriots know you can't change that. That's history. What they have to do right now is change their fortunes offensively here in the second half. They've got to get a drive together.
Full touchdown scored by the Rams. The Patriots led 16-14 at the intermission. And under pressure again, 3 men on Eason, who tried to find Greg Beatty, but he was throwing off balance.
One of the differences between these two teams today, when you have the running game and you force a team to respect that running game, it's much easier to protect your quarterback. When you are relying almost strictly on the pass, and that's where New England is right now, then the defense plays a different game against you. And the result is that you get more pressure on that quarterback quickly.
64,339 at Anaheim Stadium. They'll go home talking about Everett. And Eason hoping that they'll be talking about a losing effort. He tried to hit Beatty, and the flags are down, and apparently there was a hold on the Rams trying to stop Beatty, who was breaking into the clear on the far side. New England took an early lead, couple of field goals, and the block punt for a touchdown from McSwain, 13-0.
Dick, let's just take a second. Watch the Rams blitz here. Wilshire coming this way, and Newsom coming on the other side is going to break clear on the blitz.
48.
Eason, under big pressure, still able to get that off. But look at Newsom all by himself coming across, and Eason just barely getting that ball up. At the end of the play now, ball clearly out of the reach of Beatty, but obviously he had been interfered with prior to that.
Tim Fox holding, and the automatic first down out at the 36-yard line, the 7th Ram penalty of the afternoon.
Very unusual to see that kind of blitzing from the Rams. That's not their style.
Trailing 28-16, exactly 14 minutes left. Ooh, Cedric Jones takes a whack but holds on to the ball and has a first down out at the 48-yard line. Johnny Johnson with a tackle. Johnson and Carl Eckern played in the Rams tennis championship this year, and Eckern, a muscle-type player, they say, attacker, won. Beat Johnson was an avid tennis fan. I asked Eckern how many men were in the tournament. He said about 2. Craig James, caught in the backfield by Gary Jeter. Well, he was an excellent acquisition by the Rams from the Giants for a number 3 pick 3 years ago.
Talk about Carl Eckern. I asked him what his big concerns were on the day, and he said the first thing that bothers me and scares me is the outside speed of New England, talking about their wide receivers. He said the other thing that I have to be frightened about is whether we're going to score or not. Well, one of those fears certainly answered in a positive way as the Rams have certainly been able to score today.
Well, the players themselves have been after Robinson. When are you going to start the kid? Doesn't he seem ready? Looks good in practice. He got to start today, and Robinson's patience being rewarded so far. Eason to Beatty, a former basketball player at Stanford, is tackled out at the 48-yard line. So they get the yardage back that they lost on first down, 7-yard deficit by Jeter, and 7 on that reception to Beatty. 3rd and 10 for Eason and the Patriots. There's your comparison. 2 interceptions thrown by Eason with no touchdowns. Remember, Eason went into the game with only 2 interceptions all year. Everett, meanwhile, keeping that side of the ledger clean.
And that is such a big, big number for a young quarterback.
Flag down. It'll be against the Patriots. Ooh, Collins is whacked. 22, Vince Newsom, known as a hitter from the University of Washington. Flag, I believe, was on the wide receiver.
Newsom, the second leading tackler on this Ram team, even though he splits time at a safety position. Look at this kiss right here. Ooh. Collins lucky that he hung onto that football.
They're going to take the penalty. It appeared to be Stanley Morgan who had leaned forward in motion.
Offense, number 80.
Now it's Fryer.
Illegal motion. 5 yards.
On the far side, so Irving Fryer has not had a good day. He's made several mistakes.
Dick, when you play zone defenses, and the Rams are almost exclusively a zone defense team in the early downs, they will go to some man-to-man coverage when they go to the long nickel packages. You've got to have a great pass rush. That's been one of their secrets today. They've really had heat on Eason all day long.
5 times they've sacked him. Underneath to James. Tough catch, but way short of the first down at the 49. Giroux and Newsom, 2 teammates with the Huskies up in Seattle at the University of Washington, make the tackle. And the punting team comes on, and the Ram defense gets a hand.
Just turn this loose. You'll watch it from the high sideline as the Rams drop back into their zones. Look at them going deep. Linebackers dropping into the center. Right there, they're trying to take advantage by dropping it up inside. But the Rams, as we said earlier, with their backs to the goal line, they make you catch the ball in front of them, and then they come up and take you down.
Camarillo, he has another bad kick off the side of his foot. Lands and takes a New England bounce inside the 20 to about the 17-yard line. Now the Rams will begin play from inside their 20 with a 28-16 lead. 11 minutes remaining. Most of the fourth quarter left. The Rams lead 28-16. Are we giving Jim Everett too much attention?
I don't think so. I think he's earned the attention he's gotten from us. He obviously has also earned the respect of the New England defense. And I'm sure they were looking at him as a rookie quarterback. They've got to treat him as a tough competitor at this point.
Eric Dickerson with a flag down gets out to the 20-yard line.
You know, Dick,
have you seen a quarterback do any better in his first game?
I sure haven't. And, you know, we can go back and look at, well, the quarterback who made the biggest splash in recent years was John Elway. And Elway, even after a preseason and after scrimmages, stepped in and was really hammered in his first few games. Whatever has been done here.
Number 56, holding. Half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
John Robinson's treatment of this young quarterback and his desire to put him in a winning situation, in other words, to keep the pressure off of him, certainly has paid dividends today. He is not going to continue to have no interceptions. He's going to have some bad days, but this start means so much because he now has something to lean back on if he does have a bad day.
Penalty on Doug Smith, takes it back to the 8-yard line. Dickerson breaking tackles, and he fouls out to the 19. Fred Marion finally brings him down, and Dennis Harrah gets up slowly again.
Acceleration. Feel like you're right down there with them, and you'll understand why they're not so excited about trying to have to tackle that man one-on-one. Marion just getting a hold and hoping he gets some help, and did. But Dickerson with an excellent run, and Dickerson starting to put it together.
Yeah, he's got a chance at his 100 yards after all. After only 25 in the first half. And that size wears down the opposition. Retton drilled as he gets to the 23-yard line. That'll bring up third down and about 6.
Some interesting blocking going on down on the line of scrimmage. Tim Newberry, who's fit right in with this team, is here on the right-hand side of your picture. Now watch him. He's going to fake a pass block right here on his man and just kind of pull him back out of there. Just kind of pulls Garen Barris. Look at that. He's pretending to be blocking on Barris. Just kind of pulled him back out of there, and that's an influence block.
A lot of ways to get the job done.
A lot of ways to get the job done. You better believe it.
3rd and 4 on the marking, and Dickerson again able to wiggle free from the first 2 men, but drew a crowd, and the Ram punting team comes on. Don Blackman, 55 from Tulsa, in on another tackle.
Let's go back inside to look at Newberry again, working on number 90, Toby Williams, turning Williams around, but Williams not too happy with his use of the hands, just ended up shifting him, throwing him right down onto the line.
Fryer always a threat back at the 32. Hatcher. Line drives it. Fryer fair catch at the 42-yard line. So the Patriots have the ball. Adequate time. All the timeouts left. 8:55 left in Anaheim. And we'll be seen at its regular time. And it's a great lineup capped off by the Academy Award-winning Terms of Endearment, our movie of this Sunday night. Tony Collins breaking a tackle. Breaks another. Good running by Collins and out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Vince Newsom finally got him out of bounds after a 10-yard carry.
Well, this is such a critical drive as you watch Grogan signaling in the play, because playing against a defense like this that forces you to deal with everything short, they eat up a lot of the clock. They're not going to give you that deep shot. That means you've got to work your way down the field. That takes time. And right now there is time, but if you don't get something going on this drive, you may not have time to put 2 scores on the board.
It is a first down at the Ram 48-yard line. 28-16 Los Angeles. And with 8:45 left, Eason to Morgan. A terrific catch at the 30, 25, 20, and down he goes. Tripped up by Tim Fox.
I think Eason may have been throwing to Craig James. It looked like James cutting across, and of course they'd broken up the patterns, but Morgan, streaking to the inside, does what a good receiver should do. He said, that's my ball. He doesn't even see James. I think the ball's to James. He reaches up and takes it and zips down the field. Quick hands by Stanley Morgan.
That's his 6th catch. Here's a better look at it. You see, well, it could indeed have been to James.
I think it was, because I don't think Eason could see Morgan streaking across to the inside.
6 catches for Stanley Morgan, 100 yards for him on the day. First down at the 20. New England needs to score out of this possession, and James bumped out of bounds. Jerry Gray, that stops the clock at the 13-yard line, a 7-yard gain. Well, let's check the other late action. Those things were getting tight. Well, the Raiders move back out to a 10-point lead at the Coliseum. Denver apparently goes on to win again. Dallas is within 4 of San Diego, and it's an 8-point Jets lead at Giant Stadium. Jets with the best record in football at 9-1. Denver at 8-2, trying to stay right there.
New England is saying, what do we have to do to catch up with the Jets, let alone with the Rams? Jets are streaking.
2nd and 3 for Eason. Over the middle. Complete to Collins, and a 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. Vince Newsom made the tackle.
An excellent drive by the Patriot offense, doing exactly what they had to do. Throwing to the underneath receivers, forcing the Rams to come up and make the tackle, and not making the mistake. The Rams, again, hoping that they would self-destruct. What a great catch. Defensive man Newsom wrapped around Tony Collins. He just pulled that ball in and brought it down.
Eason over 300 yards now passing, 306 to be exact, 30 for 44. Now, both quarterbacks have been accurate. Eason looking for 6. Incomplete. He threw the ball behind Irving Fryer, who was open. Johnny Johnson on the coverage.
Looking at that play from behind, the Rams blitzing again, the crisscross blitz we saw earlier. And that pass, had it been in front of the intended receiver, Irving Fryer, would have been a touchdown.
It was Jerry Gray, indeed, who was there, but he wasn't close enough.
Yeah, he had him beaten.
From the 6, he drills this one for a touchdown. Fryer this time pulls it in. His 5th touchdown reception of the year. 6 yards on the play, and the Patriots are back inside a touchdown. 28-22.
2 wide receivers on top of each other in the end zone. Steppen starring in the same area. Somebody broke the pattern, and again, it's a rifle shot. And Fryer just goes up and strips that football down. That's almost like the pass that Stanley Morgan reached up and took down. Eason holding. Fryer, I'm sure, feeling better about the day. 2 critical fumbles early in the day on the punt return.
Franklin's try for point. And it's 28-23. And plenty of time remaining. 7 minutes and 6 seconds as Irving Fryer's 3rd catch of the game is for a touchdown. And actually, usually when you see 2 receivers so close to each other and watch as both come from the right of your picture into the end zone, usually that means you're drawing coverage in there. I think either man, well, no, on the backside, appeared to be starring, was occupying someone and actually served as a screen. And Fryer says,
that could get you in trouble. They're being a little more lenient about those end zone dances, I guess, determining that that one was spontaneous.
Yeah, let's hope they are. I think that's part of the flavor. 6 plays, 58 yards for the Patriots to pull within 5. And a look ahead to next Sunday's action on NBC. It's a battle of first-place teams, the Broncos and Giants. Pittsburgh playing better, and Cleveland and Cincinnati in a dogfight in that AFC. Indianapolis at Houston and Kansas City at St. Louis. A battle for bragging rights in Missouri, our only late game. Franklin has it teed up. Ron Brown and Charlie Waiter deep for the Rams. Again, it's a very short kick to the 16 to Brown. And he's hit at the 28 and stopped. Good coverage by Mosi Tutupu. If he does it, he's got to get a lot of consideration for Pro Bowl special teams player. Boy,
He always does. In fact, he's been there as a Pro Bowl special teamer. Last week, had to do all of this running on special teams and play virtually almost every play on offense. Look at him just go right through, runs over Tony Slayton, and then gets a hold on Ron Brown and won't turn him loose. Oh, that is brilliant special teams play.
The ball at the 29-yard line, and the Rams with the lead, 28-23. Jim Everett, who has been close to perfect, and now the Patriots hoping it's time that he makes a mistake. Well, he extricates himself, and the first time we've seen him run. And now he goes at the 36-yard line. Darren Burris made the stop.
Not the fleetest of quarterbacks. In fact, reminiscent a little bit of another Ram quarterback of about the same stature, Roman Gabriel. Used to call him the ladder because he ran straight up and down. Here he comes to the outside, doing what he has to do, covering a lot of ground with those long strides. But boy, he better learn to tuck that football away. Got himself on the ground. Well, he passed the test there.
They allow progress to the 37-yard line. Second down and 2. And it's Dickerson's turn. First down as he tumbles out to the 43-yard line. Well, you could just see Dickerson felt that he was looking at a touchdown. That thing was starting to open up. He was unhappy with himself.
I think he was mad at somebody, thought somebody had grabbed at his face or at his mask. He had over 50 on that play. Dick, one of the things that makes this Ram team so tough when they can get a lead coming out of that third quarter is that man right there. He can run the football. He can control that clock. And right now, the biggest thing that they're thinking about on the Rams sideline is let's eat that clock with the running game, get that ball down the field, and try and eliminate an opportunity for New England to get a shot on the board again.
Well, he gets another chance. Draws a crowd at the 46-yard line, but even when you stop him, he gets his 3 or 4. Don Blackman made the tackle, and of course the Rams want to chew up the clock and at the very worst get in field goal range and get that 8-point lead again.
The Rams are 27-3 over the last 4 years when they lead after 3 quarters. Now that'll tell you what you can do when you have a powerful running game and a defense that forces you to work slowly down the field.
Now those are the 4 years they've had Eric Dickerson.
Absolutely.
Barry Redden, and there it is again as they look to Dickerson and give to Redden. That set up and actually led to Redden scoring on an 11-yard play earlier. That'll be just shy of the first down. Ed Reynolds.
We've seen such big plays coming back against the grain by Redden with everyone reacting initially, and all you need is a step. If you can get that defense to take one step out of position, you can get in position to block them. And of course, Redden is a fine runner in his own right. 6 rushes, 27 yards on the day, a fine average.
He's over 300 yards for the season. That's tough to get 300 when you're playing beside an Eric Dickerson. 3rd and 1. And it's Dickerson, sweep right. And a first down out to the 42 of New England. Raymond Claiborne and company on the tackle.
The Rams are using Duval Love as an extra tight end in a 2 tight end offense here. They got really 7 linemen, offensive linemen on the field. Look at that spin, though, as he just whipped his body back to the inside. But right now, New England has got to get something stopped.
And in the first half, he was all under 9 yards. Now he's opened up some bigger gains and a lot in that 5 to 9 yard range. Nothing much there for Barry Redden. That one did not fool the Patriot defense. Clock continues to run, though, against New England.
Few emotions erupting on the field. Again, Lawrence McGrew in the center of things as he and Pankey pushing at each other.
And of course, that helps the Rams because all this time the clock continues to run. Under 3 minutes, 28-23. the Rams lead.
One of the best things that Raymond Berry has done is to help his team control the turnover situation. And right here, they're thinking takeaway, turnover.
Figures Dickerson will get it and does. He has 91 yards prior to this carry, and he's inside the 35-yard line before Marion can make the tackle as he picks up 8 more. Unofficially 99 yards for Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson will be the first to tell you that without these men opening up holes for him, he doesn't go anywhere. Number 60, Dennis Hara, good job. Hill, David Hill, 81, good block on his part. Good job inside. I'll tell you, those guys are doing a super job. Pankey, Newberry, Smith, Harris, Slater, all doing a good job of controlling.
Robinson is upset because the clock had stopped for all that time. .102 yards now officially for Eric Dickerson.
Over the 100 mark again.
This is a 3rd down and 2. Tripped up and a flag down, and that could be a big one against the Rams as Dickerson close to a 1st down.
Be a holding call, I believe, against the Rams. And Dick, they continue to run at that right side. Brent Williams, of course, out there on
Number 81, holding, 10 yards, still 3rd down.
David Hill, man that we mentioned, has been doing a good job of blocking, too good a job with his hands there on McGrew and throwing McGrew to the ground. But over there on the right side, you have McGrew in Tippett's place, and he is out of position over there. He's been playing in the inside linebacking position. Brent Williams, a rookie at that left end. That's another kind of guy you want to work at. And Toby Williams had been a defensive end. They made a nose tackle out of him. He is not yet totally comfortable inside.
I couldn't help but smile looking at Raymond Berry. Here it is, a 28-23 game. It's going to boil right down to New England trying to get the ball back, and he has to be, at least outwardly, the most relaxed man in the house. He just doesn't show any expression. He leaves that for everyone else. Clock runs down to the 2-minute mark. There is the 2-minute warning in Anaheim. Young Jim Everett, Dick Corey, the offensive coach, and John Robinson. Run or pass? What do you think?
Well, it's either going to be a low-risk pass or it's going to be a run. I would think that I would give it to Dickerson, hope he could pick it up. If not, I'd punt it. I'd put my defense on the field and say, I don't believe you can push it all the way down on our defense and put it in the end zone in the time you've got.
Joe Costanza's score. We want to thank Jim Wagner, Gary Paskowitz, Mel Franks, Brent Schreier, Ozzie Lang. Sorry we don't see our friend Chuck Benedict here at Anaheim Stadium today, and we wish him well. No, he's recovering from some health problems. Big Ram fan for many, many years. In fact, he goes back to the years when Bob Kelly was the announcer with the Cleveland Rams coming out to Los Angeles in 1946. Big play, 3rd and nearly 12.
We'll find out how much confidence they've developed in this short relationship with that young quarterback on what they've decided to do here on this play.
He's going to pass out of the shotgun. And he's going for a big one, but no one there except for Claiborne. And the Rams punting team will come on. They're out of field goal range.
Well, that stopped the clock. There wasn't much risk in that. That ball thrown out of bounds. Didn't matter who caught it. They wouldn't have counted. Right now, you put your punter in there, and of course, New England blocked the punt earlier. They missed one. The ball actually kicked behind McSwain on what could have been a second block. And right now, you've got to be wondering, except that they don't have all of their people up on the line.
The incomplete pass is a favor to the Patriots because it stops the clock. 1:54 left. New England will get the ball with all 3 timeouts, but must score a touchdown to take the lead. Too much time.
Oh. Mike McDonald on that snap put it right on the ground. That's a perfect opportunity if you're rushing a punter.
The crowd moaning because the ball, like a wedge shot, stopped dead at the 1-yard line, but it appears that the Rams did not get the kickoff in the 30 seconds time.
I don't know why the conversation with the sideline. Take him back, he says. I guess I guess they would have the option, obviously.
Offense delayed. 5 yards, still 4th down.
Raymond Berry says move him back. There's Mike McDonald. He's not a long snapper. He says I'm a hiker. He is a specialist. That's all he does on this team. Snap that football.
Robinson needed somebody who was accurate in hiking the ball, and so he went back to one of his collegians at SC. Fryer, fair catch, 13-yard line. He made sure of that one. Vince Newsom camped right there at his side. So Tony Eason brings the Patriots on the field. 87 yards away from the Ram goal line. New England, after a quiet second half that saw the Rams score 2 touchdowns, Redden 11-yard run, and Everett Taylor 20-yard pass. And then Easton led the team downfield 58 yards with a cap or a pass to Fryer, and now more than enough time in this game. 1:45 and 3 timeouts left for Easton. Key here is to be patient. Fryer to the 21, 22-yard line. About 8 yards in the play. Wiltshire and Newsom with the tackle.
Plenty of time to work the ball down the field. They'll go without a huddle. Eason calling it at the line very quickly. Steps back again into that shotgun formation.
What a catch again by Stanley Morgan. There's the timeout. The first of 3 used by New England. And Morgan has made some really tough catches. He took quite a whack. Keeps that one in position. Let's take another look at 174-pound Stanley Morgan.
Morgan just down the field and dips inside. Going to get tagged pretty good on that play by Johnny Johnson. But he continues to suck that football up 7 times today. He's caught it, and very often in traffic, for 115 yards.
That gives him 57 catches for the year. That's one under his all-time best, 58 back in 1983. Eason. And there's a big defensive play by the Rams. Kevin Green, number 91. He's from Auburn.
Well, the Rams very high on him. They say he's an impact player, 255 pounds. He can go right over the top of some of those backs and blockers. He did on that play.
New England with 2 timeouts left. We're at the 1-minute mark. Eason with a quick release to Fryer out to the 48-yard line.
Short of the first down. Going to be 3rd, about a yard to go. Got to wonder here if Eason may have to run the football to pick up the first down.
More importantly, using a lot of time. They didn't spend the time out there. They've got 2 left. They need a touchdown. Field goal does them nothing. Eason. Oh, wide open is Beatty on the sidelines, and out of bounds he goes at the 30, but a flag is down.
I think he may have been over the line of scrimmage when he threw that football.
Yep, that's the call, the legal forward pass.
Eason scrambling, but knowing he didn't want to run that football. Boy, that puts him in a critical position because you lose the down, and they'll mark it back 5 yards. Going to be 4th and 6.
Offense, number 11, illegal forward pass, and loss of 5 yards, loss of down, 4th down.
So the pressure now on Eason and the Patriots, 4th down and 6. They must make the 6th. Well, he's going to use a timeout here, even though the penalty call time, because with 34 seconds left, they can't afford to make a mistake at this spot.
It's do or die.
Now that gives us a chance to wrap up all the scores of this day. And still no finals. Late running games. Raiders still by 10. And Dallas late has rallied to take a 3-point lead at San Diego. The Jets apparently will go 10-1. 9 straight wins for the Jets. These are the finals from earlier today. Cincinnati, the Giants, the Bears winners. As were Miami, New Orleans, and Pittsburgh. Detroit and Green Bay. The executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer of NBC football coverage, Ted Nathanson. Coordinating producer of NFL 86 is John Filippelli. Today's telecast produced by George Finkel, directed by Andy Rosenberg. NFL 86 produced by Ricky Diamond. NFL 86 directed by Mary Buda Lamicio. Technical directors Jim Marshall and Salvatore Nagita. Now all the pressure on the Patriots. They have but one timeout left, and they're looking at a 4th and 6.
Well, they've had their meeting on the sideline. Everyone's had a chance to have their say, and they've selected a play.
Rams, of course, need a win to stay a half game at least in front of the 49ers. New England looking for a win, with the Jets already victorious, or apparently victorious. New England may not be able to take the East, but they're sitting in a good wild card spot. Would like to keep that in an improved situation. There it is, 4th and 7. Do or die play for the Patriots.
It's going to come down to a mark.
Now, they appeared to have the first down yardage, but, boy, they weren't any too generous with the mark.
And on the far side of the field, the official had marked it for a first down. Now they say it is a first down, but the clock is running. 20 seconds, 19. You've got to go deep.
First, they're going to stop the clock. It's amazing how that evil time eats away at your hopes.
We showed you the stat that talked about how tough the Rams have been when they had the lead in the third quarter, and talked about how hard it is to get a shot at them, because they'll control the football offensively with the running game, and then defensively, they're not going to give you anything easy. They make you earn it. They make you work your way down the field, both of which eats away at that clock, and this is the result. 13 seconds left, and you're still 51 yards away from your end zone.
Patriots do have one timeout, so they, in essence, have time for 2 plays.
The Rams have too many players on the field. I think 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, no, 11 players, but late coming out. And a quick timeout called by the Rams.
Yeah, John Robinson saw that the defense was in trouble, wanted to be sure they were set, and he screamed out to call time.
Talking to Carl Eckern, he said that very often now teams are waiting to send their substitutes on the field. So Fritz Shermer will do the same thing. He'll wait to send his people on the field. Only the advantage for the defense is that they don't have to fight that 30-second clock.
We can duck in a final. San Diego leading the Cowboys 21-10 in the 4th quarter, and Dallas rallies on a Herschel Walker touchdown and a Fuller touchdown run, and it's the Cowboys prevailing 24-21. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Rams and the National Football League is prohibited. Well, you got 2 plays, and I'm sure that Raymond Berry and Tony Eason are together on that. They must cross the goal line to win it. 28-23 Rams. On a day when Jim Everett debuted as a Ram quarterback very impressively. 3 touchdown passes.
Dick, I was just wondering who would want to replay this game, but I'm sure that everyone who watched young Jim Everett play in college, who's rooted for him, and all the fans here who have waited for his debut will remember this day with special fondness.
Tony Eason would like to throw a big carpet over that joy here in Anaheim. But running the football won't do it. He steps out of bounds with 3 seconds left. Well, for Eason, that is quite a move. He couldn't have done much better with a pass, and now 1 play for it all. The Rams stop Eason, and they win. Eason, 25 yards away from a dramatic come-from-behind win.
Does exactly what he has to do. Not a receiver open. Breaks away from the rush right there. That's Green again, Kevin Green, and makes a hard decision there. If he's tackled inbounds, the game is over. But he managed to get out of bounds. He saves it for 1 play, and now it's that outside speed. 3 great wide receivers. In fact, we may see 4 wide receivers. I think we probably will on this play, and you know they're going for the end zone.
And it isn't a Hail Mary situation where he has to throw it up and hope somebody can outleap the defense. He can actually work a play. It'd be interesting to see how the Rams align. They could almost put people right down, 4 or 5 of them on the goal line. Say, come on down. And we'll let you complete anything in front of us.
I think you're going to see them making sure that nobody gets behind them. But, of course, that can be dangerous because Eason is a very accurate passer. If he gets the right kind of pattern, he puts it in their hands, and away they go. Grogan, you see him. He's coordinating that discussion. I think he'll make the final call on this play. And it's interesting that he's trusted by Raymond Berry, by that offensive staff, to make those decisions. He'll take the input, as he does there from Eason. He'll take the input from receivers, but eventually he has to make that call.
Well, this is for the game. Both teams entered 7-3. One will go out with the 8th win, and this is the play.
Try and throw it on the sideline for John Robinson. I don't blame you, John. Look how deep they are. There they are, backing off, almost to the end line.
It's caught for a touchdown. Irving Fryer gets the touchdown, and New England wins. Oh, my. Just stunned, sitting in the middle of the field. The game isn't officially over. They still have to kick the extra point. For most of this game, until that final play, that was your most valuable player. But that is the man who really is the most valuable player because his team has just won. Tony Eason is our Budweiser MVP. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs in today's games.
They're standing over the ball. I wonder if they want a replay of that play. I guess maybe they're just, the time is out on the clock.
Got to kick the extra point.
Got to kick the extra point. This is just a pass that's going down. Everybody waiting down there. What you hope is that ball bounces as it does here. And then Irving Fryer, number 20, goes up and picks it off. Stanley Morgan up to tap that ball the first time. 86, watch him. Jumping right here. Taps the football. And Irving Fryer grabs it before it gets out of the end zone.
That's just the old rebound scene, a basketball rebound. Everybody under the boards, and somebody's got to rip it down. This is academic. Tony Franklin kicks the extra point, and the final score.
Well, it was the Jim Everett story, but Tony Eason wrote the final chapter.
Swing of the emotions. Raymond Berry takes home a surprise win. Tony Eason on the final play on the rebound catch. Stanley Morgan to Irving Fryer. Fryer, who had made 3 mistakes in the game, 2 fumbles, but he's the right man, the right spot, trailing the play. Keeps himself in bounds, and New England goes home 30-28 a winner. For Merlin Olsen, Dick Enbridge, stay tuned for Our House, except on the West Coast, and most